Hello and welcome back to episode 24 edition of the Out of Mana podcast. I am the real Shiesty here with my good friend Joshua Kest, and today we're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy, Last of Us, as we always do, and a little bit and a lot of bit of Nintendo, more Nintendo Direct, just Nintendo in general. You could always catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch. Where else, Josh? Did I miss anything? Of course I did, right? TikTok,
Twitter,
right?
TikTok, Instagram. I forget at
Word,
this point.
word
Everything's
of
in the
mouth.
links.
Word of mouth. Dixie Cups. Your local newspaper. Maybe not, but maybe
That-
one day.
That'd be like a
Uh,
weird way to like get promos on the newspaper. I know it's like outdated at this point, but it'd be nice to see it.
flyers like, have you seen this pod? Have you heard this podcast like on a milk carton?
That's actually a good idea. I have a friend that actually does rapping, and he puts like these like QR codes with his picture, and it's like check the album now, and it just links it to like a Spotify
Right?
playlist.
Yeah, a lot of people do, or like public transportation, right? Like the L's and buses and shit have that. And I mean, I'm sure I don't know how much gains they get, but like I'm sure it works a little bit, right? Like people just get curious,
Yeah,
and they'll just scan it. Little do they know they're going to some adult website that probably get them in trouble.
yeah,
No, but
some Russian link.
yeah. But with all that said, as our introduction goes, how are you doing, sir?
Doing all right. Pretty tired, but that's my own fault because this week has been a huge week for me gaming wise, and
Typical gamer.
I put myself in a bind because I've just been enjoying the game so much.
We call that gamer syndrome, right?
Yeah, man,
Gamer apnea.
it feels weird because I haven't had this in a long time. I think the last time I've had this feeling was like 2014, where like I couldn't just put down a game.
hmm that's it's a good feeling though. I think it's good um to binge sometimes, like especially for a game you're extremely passionate about. So
Yeah, yeah. It's weird. Like there's so many good games nowadays. But for some reason, like obviously they're all good. I enjoy playing all of them, but like this one just hits every single box for me, and it's weird because there's a lot of games that do something very similar, but this one does it.
yeah, so we'll probably take a deeper dive of that because it is one of our major topics for today. So I know it might be hard for you right now, but
Yeah,
we'll reserve that. But other than that, like as we mostly do on our podcast, we kind of take a little quick dive at whether it's personal or whatever through the last week. So do you want to start with that, or do you want me to start with that? I mean,
uh,
well, I guess yours is really encompassing of just that, right? Because it really consumed you, so it might be a little hard.
well, yeah, I've obviously I even though I've been binging this like one game I've been playing all week, I've also done other stuff. Still continuing with the no soda thing, which I
Okay.
think also might be contributing to my tiredness. But also,
Yeah.
oddly enough, I've been, because of me just being nonstop awake, maybe it's not. um, and then also just watching. Oddly enough, I've watched a new movie this week. Sometimes I don't watch new stuff all the time, but I watched a
hmm
movie called Nope. I'm not sure if you heard of that with Jordan Peele.
I have, yes.
And dude, I don't know why I slept on it because I liked Get Out. I've liked the new like Twilight Zone, and Nope was just fantastic. And it's just been a wonderful week for entertainment for me.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to maybe I say this quite often, and obviously I don't fucking do it, but it would be good to check out some of those things because that one I believe did have some pretty damn good reviews when it was current at least. Yeah, for me, dare I say a lot, a little the same, kind of like last week. Today I had my second day on a bike like I did last week, and this time I did, I guess, take your advice a little bit. I did the interval selection, and yes, it did kick my ass. I did sweat a whole lot more, but I burned probably equally the same calories, which is meh, but I still feel like it beat my ass. So I did enjoy it, and I did it in half the time. So I kind of like that to some regard. So there was that. I know one of the another big topic. Like I said, we're going to talk quite a bit of Nintendo. I think today a little bit, and part of the direct. I know sometimes we talk about our games, and once again, it might be difficult for you, but for me, um, it's been a huge Octopath week, I guess, for me, outside of the usual Warcraft. Octopath on mobile, as well as Octopath Traveler 2. The demo dropped. That became knowledge during the Nintendo Direct, and I don't want to steal too much light from that. There's plenty to talk about there. But initially, I thought the demo was only going to be for the Switch, and I was I was kind of upset because I pre-ordered it for PS5. Now, probably I may have still probably played on the Switch anyhow just to fucking play it. But then lo and behold, as the day continued and through social media, I learned that the demo is also accessible through PS4, 5, and I believe, was it Steam? Steam, right? Steam,
Oh,
yeah, Steam. I don't know why
it's
I'm brain farting Steam. Um, and then whatever you do in that demo, it carries over into the main game. The funny part about the demo is you only get 3 hours. That's it. So no matter what happens, you're forced to save, and that's where you leave off, which I think is pretty funny because I do not think that's how the first game functioned. The first game demo, I think you only got to like the first chapter and then they forced you to stop. So I thought that dynamic was a little funny and interesting. I don't know how a lot of other games do it nowadays that may give you that option or that opportunity. But I thought that was pretty funny. It's like 3 hours, like, oh, I want to enjoy this, but at the same time, I want to do stuff and like, like get far, so to speak, or like learn more about the character that I'm playing and stuff. So I did stream that via PS5 yesterday, and I think it went well with the exception of my voice audio. I did play it back, and I was like, "Oh, this is awful." If I'm going to stream my entire playthrough in 2 weeks, I may have to get a microphone for the PS5, which I think they're not cheap.
well,
Maybe you could give me a recommendation.
you could do a whole bunch of stuff like what was it? I have this. Where is it? I'm not gonna find it. I have this like, oh wait, it's actually right here. My bad. So I have this little earbud right here that I've gotten basically when it came with the PS4. Why the
Okay,
heck?
I
What
have
is
that
this
one.
stuck on? And it's not the best, but it works.
Okay, I
Obviously,
was going to do a test run with that next.
it's definitely better than the controller mic. Like the controller
Okay,
mic is good, but like there's no focus. That one actually focuses by your mouth. Uh,
okay,
but I know you're not a fan of headsets.
yeah,
But I was gonna say, if you really want a good audio experience for the game
yeah.
and also mic, get the either one of these, a Steel Series, or get the actual PlayStation first party one. Because spatial audio on first party PlayStation games is just amazing.
Now, I know this sounds like a waste of money, but if I were to get the headset, am I still able to toggle off the audio and then just do the voice?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
If you want to
I
go
know that
another
sounds
route, you could
stupid,
actually
but
you could get the PlayStation camera.
I'm not looking to do the cam with this.
Actually, you have a USB microphone, right?
Correct.
I think you might actually be able to hook that up just to the PlayStation itself.
Hmm.
Because I know the Xbox, you could do stuff like that. I think the PlayStation has the same compatibility.
I wonder if I could even. Now, it wasn't working great on my computer, but I still have my Blue Yeti. I wonder if I could see if that would still work.
Be Mr. Roboto on PlayStation.
That
I mean,
would
it's
be
worth a try.
maybe.
Do like a little like 2 minute test stream like you did with Final Fantasy, and then see how that works.
Yeah,
And then if it doesn't
yeah.
work, then
The
try the
only
other
the
one.
only issue I still see with both, like the mic I'm using now for the podcast and for my PC stream and the Blue Yeti is, and I guess this is where the headset would negate it, but with that open audio, wouldn't it pick up my TV? Because that was also what I was experiencing with
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
controller mic, right?
Well, that's the problem you're gonna experience when you do anything over TV speakers. It's just gonna interlap.
Even with the one that the freebie one, you think?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
That's why people use headsets.
Yeah, man. I just like I said, I'm whatever, call it anxiety or whatever.
I understand your reasoning.
Yeah, I just need to hear. I just need the ambience.
Have you ever? So, unfortunately, I don't know how well this works, and I don't know where my Apple EarPods are, but they
Hmm.
have a decent mic, and the earbuds actually go in your ear, and it has a microphone that also lets audio from the outside go into your ear as well, so you can hear both, music, whatever, and the outside. Maybe you might want to
So
look at that.
so I do because PS5 has Bluetooth, right? Yeah, of course it does.
I don't know if it's well, just because it has Bluetooth, so it doesn't mean all devices are compatible.
True, but I do have, because I was trying to use these. Well, I was trying to use these last week for the podcast, but it didn't work out when we tried to do our little pre-show technical what have you. Although we always have technical difficulties, but like these are wireless of the same brand I'm wearing now, which are I guess free plug Ambi. Um, and I believe these have a mic on them as well, but I've never tested it because my intent wasn't to use them for a
Well,
mic.
even if it doesn't have a mic, what you could do is see if you could use that as your audio source and then use your microphone as just being open.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, now I'm following you. Now I'm following you. Gotcha. Okay, good idea. Um, so with that said, okay, so yeah, I was extremely excited playing Octopath Traveler 2 yesterday. Now, even though you only get 3 hours, I believe if you want, you could just delete that save and then you could do it again, then again, again.
So you
But
could
I'm not.
replay 3 different hours if you, as long as
I
you restart over.
I think so. I
Uh,
think that's a loophole.
that's interesting because that means the first time you can just take your time, do whatever you want, and then second time speed run it and see how far you can get.
Correct. And I believe there's people doing that, and that's why I'm saying that. Or the other thing is like, um, so when you start the game, you select one of 8 characters or travelers, if there's a called. So I think another thing what people are doing is they're deleting that file and then just choosing a different character, so they could kind of see the beginning for every character, and maybe then when the retail version does come out, they could be like, oh, I definitely want to do this one. Um, I mean, I kind of, well, I didn't do that, but I just read their, kind of pre-description, and um, the one I picked, his name is Oswald, and his pre-story just intrigued me. I guess he gets sent to prison and for killing his wife and daughter, but as the story would go, of course he didn't do it. But it just intrigued me immediately. I'm like, okay, that's the one I want to start playing.
So basically,
Um,
they ripped off Shawshank Redemption. He's the Andy Dufresne of the
Sure,
game.
sure, exactly. Uh, and they send them to Alcatraz, or Alcatraz, whatever. Alcatraz, isn't it?
I thought you were
What
about to say
dungeon?
Azkaban from like Harry Potter. I was like, ooh, look at
uh,
you tossing out those words.
yeah, no, I don't know anything about that, but we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, I know.
So, anyways, that was kind of me nerding out a little bit over the last few days. I haven't played much Warcraft this week because of that. I don't even know if I'm gonna play it tonight, to be honest. Maybe a little bit, but so that's taken a back seat, which I said it would because I really, really, really am excited for Octopath.
So
Um,
when did so I was under the impression that Octopath 2 came out relatively soon. So is that
yeah,
not the case and it's just a demo? Is that what you were talking about?
yeah, this is a demo. The actual game comes out literally 2 weeks from now,
Oh, okay, so it
today.
still comes out soon. Because I was
Yep.
like, you were getting all hyped for a demo. I thought like the full game was coming out soon.
Oh,
That's
I'm
why I was
still hyped for the
confused.
demo, man, for sure. That dude, like, oh, it's just so amazing. I love it so much. Like, and I barely scratched, the surface. Didn't even scratch the surface. My nails just right above it. Um, but yeah, so in between that and last week, other than that, just um, having just enjoying life, I guess. One day at a time.
It's pretty good.
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
so before we move past the demo part, because I
Hmm.
don't really think about demos, and now that you mention it, our friends at the Dukes of Gaming, they also do a lot of demo testing as well for other games, just to
Okay.
see if they like it. Do you like demos when it's just preset that you get to play infinitely, but you're only set to that level, or do you like the Octopath way or the triangle strategy, where you get like a set time, but you can do whatever you want that set time?
I'm glad you brought up that question because I kind of want to make this like kind of mini topic. Um, I I kind of like them both ways. I really do. I think that this version, like the Octopath 2 way, is also unique because, like I said, if you are able to delete your files, just redo it, and like you said, even get to a point of like speed running it. I think they do have a wall at some point where it's like, okay, buddy, you can't go into this territory. I don't know. I'm not looking to find out, but something tells me they probably do. But I just think that model is a cool one. But I'm not against a different way where it's like, okay, you like hypothetically, if use the same example, you can only choose 2 out of 8 characters, and you're only able to go, this far. I think anything to give you a taste of it is fine. Um, and I think that's the intent of it, right? To kind of lure you in a little bit. I just think games that don't do demos is really kind of like not necessarily shooting themselves in the foot, but just doing themselves a disservice. Like I think demos. I think every game should have a demo. Seriously,
I'm trying to think.
every game should have a demo.
Because obviously, I'm always for the, get a little sample before you buy to see if you like it. But there's some games where well, obviously, going back to business, I'm actually starting with the business side because it's how this works.
Mhm.
I know why a lot of companies don't, because usually the good bits is just the beginning and that's it.
For a video game? No.
Yes, I play. There's a lot of single
Oh,
player
you
games.
play some shitty video games.
No, there's a lot of video games out there that like the first hour or
I,
two is like the intro is like the best part, and then the rest is just falters.
what I thought you were going to say was some games if they do it at the start. Now, when you mentioned presets, I mean, I believe historically there has been some games where they won't start you at the beginning. They'll put you in whatever different chapter, what have you. Um, but what I thought you were going to say is a lot of games at the start are more um, storytelling and less gameplay. So therefore, the player may not actually get an exact feel as to what the game is actually going to feel like.
I mean, it
Um,
could go any way there, but I've seen companies do demos in tricky ways where they bait the players into buying it, and then next thing you know, that's not what you're getting, or they just don't want to reveal it because all the good parts in the beginning and the rest is just nothing.
mhm. Like one demo that really was unique and also, dare I say, at this present time, a little confusing to me was Final Fantasy 15.
Mm.
I don't know if you recall or know this, but the Final Fantasy 15 demo actually was, I forgot how long it was as well, but it had, I don't want to say zero relevance to the actual 15, but you played Noctis as a little kid, and none of that took place in the real game. So
It's
to your point, it was like I don't know if you want to say it's bait or what, but like the one thing it did give you was a sense of probably how the gameplay was going to be, but that was about it. Other than that, like, are there attachments to it? Yes. Was it lore? Yes, but realistically, it had like nothing to do with the main game. So that was an extreme unique approach.
in a way, it
Now,
also kind of adds though too. So I kind of
no, it
like that
does.
too.
It does. And the other caveat to that was another luring factor. Those that actually did play it and then finished it got a free, I want to say a free summon in the regular game. So there was like an incentive.
Mm.
So I think that's another good idea too, is having incentives. Like, hey, you download this for free, you finish it, you'll get this cool accessory in the main game, like and it's not DLC, so you're not paying for it. It's all free. It's like the breadcrumb, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of it. I know it's not. It, yeah, it's kind of impossible to have for all games, right? Like small indie games probably aren't gonna do them, and if they do, they're probably really, really
It just limits it to like a single level, and that's it.
right. Yeah, and it's like, what are you getting out of that, right? But I think for these bigger companies, and eventually I kind of want to touch on Hogwarts a little bit when we get to it. But I think it can. I know you mentioned bad business model, but I'm gonna say it's a good business model,
It's bussin' model.
a fussy model.
I,
So,
I don't think Hogwarts Legacy actually had a demo. I think it just was like, this is what we got. You're gonna enjoy it.
well, there's something else I want to bring up about it, but like I said, we'll save it for there. Oh, the other thing. Well, I don't know if I should bring this up now or wait till we talk about Nintendo Direct. It's about Zelda.
If it's not about Tears of the Kingdom, you could bring it up now.
Well, it is, but not about the. I'll wait. I'll just wait.
Okay.
I'm upset about something. That's all.
So going back to the demo thing, because I've
Sure.
also seen, obviously, it's good to get the sample taste, but I've also seen players abuse it, where I'm not sure if you know about. Well, obviously, PlayStation. Sometimes, if you play the previous version, you could import your save file and unlock all the trophies in that game.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that do that with the game trials for PlayStation. Like, for example, Uncharted, the PS5 version with the
Hmm.
4 and Lost Legacy. I see people play the PS4 versions and then upload their file to the PS5 version, just the game trial. Within a minute, they pop all the trophies, delete it, they don't buy it ever. And then there's, I think, I'm trying to remember what.
What's a game trial? You might have to educate me
So
here. Is that
a
straight from
game.
like PlayStation Plus where you play for free?
So no, a game trial is basically like your 3 hour demo where well their game trials usually like add from like 5 to 10 hours where you could play unlimited. You could do whatever you want in the game, but then after that 10 hours is done, they just cut you off. That's it.
Okay. So similar to Doctor 2 approach, but more time. Okay.
Yeah.
But
But there's
you
people that have actually beaten a lot of those games within those game
oh
times, and then they just
wow.
don't buy the game at all.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean that then to your point would be a bad model. And that's why I mean, but 10 hours, that's not a sample. Like even 3 hours I thought was and obviously I like the game and everything, so I'm trying not to be, one-sided here, but like 3 hours seems like I think two would probably be the ideal time, right? But 10? That's a
Well,
long time,
it
man.
depends on the game because like
I
the
know it
ones
depends
that
on
they
the
do
game, but
like 10 hours,
like,
it usually takes like over 100 hours to beat.
but still,
Yeah, but
that's crazy.
people have like I've seen people go through the trials and they're just like platinum, 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 platinum. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm just like,
Like
"I already read the guide and I know what to do already."
yeah, like that model definitely would not even work for Resident Evil games. I mean, not even 3 hours. I mean, people flip those in like two,
Yeah.
like the speed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just a fan of them. I like it when it's available. Um, I think it should be available more often.
I definitely agree because that means a lot of people could play those games. Sometimes, hey, if they're good enough, they could even get the whole game for free by just playing it.
But that, yeah, I guess in that regard, yeah. But that's a little mind blowing. I think that I mean, like, so how are they accomplishing? Like you said, to use the guide, but like I think some of it's like trial and error too, right? They probably play it once, get to a certain part, and they max out time. Like, let me do it again. They just rush back to that point, and then kind of take it in a more slower manner.
So maybe for certain demos, but I know for these like PlayStation game trials, if I remember correctly, once you unlock the game trial and that time's up, you cannot replay that time again.
Oh,
So it's not like you can do like you play that 10 hours and then replay that ten
yeah,
hours. That 10 hours is just gone. You can't do it again. I believe
interesting,
that's how that works.
interesting. Okay, that's a different dynamic then.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Um. Yeah. So basically, that's what I've been playing this week. Is like I said, as well as the mobile version is and I played a little bit of Crisis Core as they saw my test streams. And that's it. Next couple weeks, it'll probably be a lot of the same, and then
Yeah.
more WoW, of course.
So I this isn't a topic, so I'm gonna bring it up,
Sure.
dude. This first part of 2023 is just like obviously I know I talked about stacked media for last year, but for game wise, man, like it's just a stacked first quarter lineup. Like you got Hogwarts Legacy. May still considered first quarter, right? That's not second quarter yet.
Uh, no, that would be second.
That'd be second. Oh yeah, because the quarters is 3 months each, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, I was about
It,
to add that. I was gonna say Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know when Star Wars comes out. It was originally supposed to come out the same day as Hogwarts, but they delayed it for really
mhm,
good reasons because they would
mhm.
have failed in comparison. But I think Star
I
Wars is
don't
coming
think
out
that's
real.
why they delayed it. I thought they delayed it because they want to. Well, they claim they want to polish it and make sure they have a complete. I mean, whether or not that's true because of Hogwarts, who knows? But like, um, I don't know. I'll take it as truth.
I mean, it could be whatever. I'm just gonna speculate. My theory is that they've
Sure,
seen, they had insight how big Hogwarts Legacy was. They're like, I don't want to screw that up for myself. But
sure.
Star Wars is coming out soon. Um, there's a couple other big games coming out soon. I can't remember all the names, but it's just a huge lineup. Just in like the first quarter and second half, or half of the second quarter as well. It's coming
Yeah.
out. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna be gaming
Well,
nonstop.
yeah. I mean, that's what I said back in one of our December podcasts was like, for me, I mean, being the WoW player that I've been, I even said to myself, like, this week is going to be huge for me for consoles, which hasn't happened in a very long time. Like I said, I got Octopath in 2 weeks, got Zelda in April, I got Final Fantasy 16 in what, June, plus Final Fantasy 7, the second installment. I can't remember what it's called, unfortunately. Look at me, the biggest fan. And I'm sure I'm missing a title or two there. Um, So yeah, even for me, like I'm looking to pick up the controller more often and play more console. So you're right. I mean, this year, I mean, I know it's different for everybody, but you know, for me personally, it is going to be a big year.
It just seems like a good variety too. Like it's not just like, oh, FPS game or RPG game. It's like a whole mixture of things. So like almost
Hmm.
everybody has something to look forward to coming like just in the first half of the year alone. And
All different
supposedly
genres.
there's some big things coming later on that are still like unannounced. Like I know Xbox has some things. Supposedly PlayStation has one big game coming up soon. So I'm like, I wonder if
Hmm.
this might overtake 2022 for like best media year.
I mean, it might very well so. I mean, I think we also kind of briefly um, mentioned this, but you know, coming out of COVID, I think has a lot to do with that. You know, now that the workforce is kind of like, uh, not that they ever stopped working because they did, but like now I think they're working uh, more efficiently and maybe back in actual offices and stuff of that magnitude. So I think that's kind of also sped up a lot of um, the titles getting done for this year as well.
Well, supposedly, I mean, I can't speak for all writers because to me, I think the writing process is always very difficult. But
Mhm.
supposedly, during like this 2.5 year break of people being inside, writers, or from what I read, I don't know if it's true, that writers just had this like nonstop explosions of ideas and just writing nonstop, and that's why we're getting so much production is because they finish all their what do you call it, drafts already. So I'm like, maybe it's being like closed up for a year or two. It like just might be like the next golden age for just media for them because of them just being stuck and only having to use their imagination to entertain themselves.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Um, I mean that could have a huge impact too. I mean, for sure.
The
A lot of
only
different.
anomaly though is George R. R. Martin. Apparently, he
Yeah,
lost
or
creative
you could.
juices.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or you get writer's block instead, and then you accomplish absolutely nothing.
Dude, how long has it been since like the last book he made was 2012, right?
I didn't read the book, so
Because he didn't finish
no
Game of
idea.
Thrones, or he didn't finish A Song of Ice
No,
and Fire. There's still one
well,
book
that's the
remaining.
that's the one he is finishing, right?
Yes,
No,
but I think it's been almost 10 years since
yeah, I
the
think
last
so.
book release. So it's like,
Hmm.
he's always complaining, oh, he's got this writer block. I'm like, at this point, you've had so many like theories to like look at. You could just,
Just steal something already.
yes, like like you got people like Tom Clancy, Stephen King, like basically crapping a book every other day, and being surprisingly decent stories, and then you got him taking 10 years to finish like half a book. It's
Yeah,
like, come on now, do something. Steal
but
your own
but
people's
but
stuff.
but when the creative process is completed, are you disappointed?
Oh, most likely I'm gonna be disappointed. Like he's built
Oh
himself up.
no.
Like, see, what he's made has been good. I'm not gonna deny that.
Well, that's kind of was my question prior to this. I mean, I don't know how long it's taken for the other stuff. Probably, obviously, not as long. But well, we once again, this is something else we also discussed. Like, he will deny it, but I absolutely believe it happened. When what happened on the HBO show, he's changed it up. Although we know it fucking came from him,
Yeah.
and that was the writer's block. He's like, oh shit, I gotta fix it.
it,
I gotta come out the hero that was promised.
it's so weird that because of potentially the show and maybe using some of like the what do you want to call it, story points that he had laid out. If
So
that
yeah,
really truly did block him, that'd be disappointing because I'm like, just if people don't like it, that's on them, but it leaves doors open for sequels.
I agree. I do agree, but at the same time, it's like you are in that dare I call it predicament where you don't. Yeah, now you do have a choice where like I could actually change it,
And then
and
who
dare
knows?
call it a luxury. But I agree. It's like maybe that's a sword you should have fell on and just died. But then that would I don't know if that would be equally surprising if you're reading it and it's the same thing that happened in the show. Like, what the fuck? He didn't change it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's a tough draw, but like, eh,
Because
it
like
is what it is.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things. about the last season that I didn't like was like the pacing being way too quick. They should have fleshed certain things out. Also, how the
Yeah,
White Walkers were taken out, I felt like was very anticlimactic. Um, but other than that, like the story was generally good. Like the Daenerys ending was surprisingly really good, and it leaves multiple doors open for, exploring other continents on I forgot what world they're on. Um,
Essos, I think. No.
no, Essos is the other company. They're on Westeros.
Oh, okay.
But there's other continents. Like I'm talking about the world.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I don't know if they're Earth or what if they're called something else. But like Arya going to a new continent that's been unexplored. John going to the north and discovering the origins of the White Walkers. Like it basically leaves door opens for sequels, and I think that's a perfect way to keep adding it instead of just closing it off completely. So I thought
Yeah,
the show ended good there, except for the White Walker part. But
for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, George R. R. Martin. It's like you make good stuff, just you also get in your own way.
I mean, yeah, it's just like once again, I definitely towards the end there heavily consume myself with like fan theories and stuff, and I loved a lot of stuff that I was reading, and it made it that much more interesting to see what the actual creator was going to do, and unfortunately, none of that happened. So
Well,
was it anticlimactic? Yeah, but at the same time, like I I guess in that regard, do respect whatever it was that they had made up for it and still went with it despite the outrage.
so the reason why I respect it, if it happens, that's why I like it. So the story points that they had beforehand, leading to the sequels, is obviously Arya discovering more the continent magic, but with Daenerys being taken away from the dragon was going to bring it to a Red Priest and bring her back, and then she's going to have another part to play somewhere else. It's like there was additions there, but if it doesn't happen,
You
they'll be
think
disappointed.
you think she would have a part to play somewhere else, or do you think she's still tunnel vision for the Iron Throne? Well, actually, Iron Throne's melting now, but I mean, she could still, you know, come back and cause reign and terror.
So I would say she'd be changed because I mean, if you look at all the people that have died in that story, like when they come back, their objective has changed to like, why am I back and what do I need to do now? And I feel like her should go more towards the what's that god's name, the Fire of Light or whatever,
Hmm.
and just figure out whatever he wants because she literally has a dragon of light, so she'll
Hmm.
do whatever she needs to do there. So I feel like
Hmm.
they have ways to expand. That's why when I see all these like criticisms for the story, except for the White Walker part, I'm just like, let it play out though, let it cook.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know why we
Um,
turned to Game of Thrones, but I was talking about
who cares?
writing process, and then that
Who,
turned there.
who cares how we got to Game of Thrones? I don't think anybody gets upset about talking about Game of Thrones. I mean, I don't. Um, yeah. So on that note, I don't know if I got anything else left for the pre-talk. I don't know if you're ready to go into topic uno,
Sure, we
or is
can.
there anything else you want to bring up?
Now we can go to the first
All
one
right,
because we're probably
let's
gonna
go
nerd
ahead
out
and do
here.
that. Let's do it. So topic uno is Last of Us. At
Yes.
for recap or just recap in general, and also too, I don't know for those that are watching live, maybe a public service announcement because Josh apparently wasn't entirely in the know, but the next episode is actually going to be on HBO Max in 50 minutes. So
Yeah. So by the time you're watching this, it's already guaranteed to be out.
yeah, exactly. By the time this podcast is over, people probably watched the full episode, so please don't fucking come here and spoil it for us because I'll be pissed. I mean, you won't be spoiling for him, but you'd be spoiling it for me. But yeah. So episode. I know we talked about how did well in last week's episode we talked about how did we think they might Ellie and Joel will kind of like become close or whatever. And my whatever my thoughts didn't happen, which is fine. That's cool.
I used your
Um,
thoughts as like a worst case scenario.
yeah. And that's fine. I'm okay with being wrong there. I think they did a really good job with it. Also to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 spoiler for those that have not watched it or played the game. Figured it'll give you a little time there as I keep doing some word salad right here. Okay, spoiler done. Okay, so like I think like the parts where he's showing her the proper way to hold a firearm and stuff like that, and then all the joking. Like I actually really laughed out loud with the diarrhea joke, by the way. Uh I thought it was like cute, but also very funny. And then that was like his final breaking point where he finally gave in. I thought that was done really well. The only part where I'm confused, and maybe you could help me, but then probably not help me, and this is probably a deviation I'm thinking, is like, I feel like her character, I guess, probably in the game or whatever, is supposed to come off more like a badass, right? Maybe,
Well,
or at least not so. Because like right now, she's like, it's almost like she doesn't know how to do certain things, but it's evident she does. She does have a skill set, like the way she's, moving the knife around, and she says that she used to be part of, group in the military camp or whatever. So like, I feel like it's a little, mm, like I guess what I'm confused is like, okay, what does she truly know? Is she putting up a front? I don't think she's
well,
really
no,
putting up a front.
I think what you're missing there is she knows what to do, but it's to deal with that moral dilemma of I can do this and I know it's easy, but should I do it? Like I mean, obviously they're probably going to do it later on in the story,
Yeah,
but she's already mentioned that, obviously you heard about her friend and how she got bit beforehand, which most likely they'll show in a flashback in later episodes. But she's already done some things before, like
yeah,
kill walkers. Unfortunately, had to put down a person, and then obviously Fedra training school. They teach you how to basically become a soldier, but just because
yeah.
they teach you doesn't mean you don't no longer have a moral conscience.
No, that is 100% true, but the fact that they still kinda, like, perceive her as like, I feel like it's not being perceived well. Like, not that I understand, like, she, has a moral compass and she might not wanna do it, and they did convey that, but, like, I still feel not that she comes off dumb, but, like, comes off like I said, it almost feels like, is she purposely doing a front or not?
Like
Um,
carefree, lax. Like she can. So her character in the games is she's very carefree. She's very lax. She jokes a lot. She just wants to have fun. When it comes down to crunch time, when people are fighting each other, she does what she needs to do. She will fight. She will kill. She'll defend. Whatever. And I think she has a good balance of both.
okay.
And I think that's why I think it's a good. And maybe because you haven't seen enough yet,
Mhm,
but that's why I was concerned with episode 2 and 3, where they're kind of cutting out their moments because it kind of builds for their relationship. But
mhm,
she does more stuff, with zombies surviving, being smart, sneaking around them that you haven't
mhm,
seen in the show yet. So
mhm.
I think that's what takes away with your how do you say it?
Mm, like
Character
perception.
connection, yeah,
Yeah.
perception.
Mhm.
But I think that's why they did episode 4. That's what I was looking forward to so much because I'm like, if they cut it out in 2 and 3, I'm like, they got to build connection somehow. Obviously,
Mhm.
they did the jokes.
Mhm.
Um, then obviously with her hiding and then shooting and knowing her positions, like it shows that she's kind of done that, and
Mhm.
I feel like it wasn't lost there.
Okay. All right. I'll roll with it. Of course, I'll get to see more tonight. I definitely do not care for that chick character.
Wait, what?
I don't even remember her name. The whoever is like the leader of whatever this group
Oh,
is.
she's not a character in the game. She is completely new, just to add humanity to
I'm
the
I'm
group.
not a fan, not the actor or actress. I'm sorry.
The
She's fine. I'm
character,
just saying that the characters are like,
yeah.
I'm like, I really can't stand her. And it's just like the reason why, and this might be stupid and silly, but like to me, she doesn't come off as someone that commands. Like she's in this sense, she's still soft spoken. It's not really that scary, but yet everyone's, I wouldn't say scared of her, but like, she is a leader. It's evident, but she just doesn't do it for me character wise.
Well, probably because she's not an official character. She was never in the games. The part that we're at now, there is no actual Fedra rebellion that happened there. It was just a whole bunch of scavengers, and they're just there to loot and plunder and all that stuff.
Just
Um,
survive, of
and obviously for a TV show format, they can't just show killing nonstop like John Wick because
course.
it doesn't work like that from other shows.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they add the characters, and I it's hard to say now because I think we really need episode 5 to because I think it's gonna be a 2-part episode where 4 and 5 need to go together.
Right. Especially the way it ended.
Yeah, but the characters we see, I feel like might add to Sam's story, the two people we see at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So maybe that might add up to it. And also, what the little Easter egg is, the soldier guy, the guy with the gray beard and all that stuff. That's actually an Easter egg because if I didn't look it up, but going from his voice, I think that's the original voice actor for Tommy.
Um, I don't know if that's 100% correct, but to your point, I know he is attached to the game somehow. Like he is like an OG member of the game somehow.
Okay, so
So so
if
you
that's
might.
true that he's connected, then I'm assuming it's gonna be Tommy because his voice sounds like Tommy a little
It
bit.
sounds like, yeah, yeah. He seems cool. I definitely dig his character, and but as much as I didn't really like the female's character, I do like the whole concept because it is for me a little reminiscent of like Walking Dead, and I was a fan uh, to a certain point in Walking Dead, so I do like that and appreciate that. Um, and yeah, I think overall the episode was fine. It wasn't. Um, Probably the best one. And I don't mean to say that like, oh, it fucking sucked. Like, no, it didn't suck. It's just like for all the episodes that came out already, I don't think it was the best one. I'm not gonna say and rank all four right now, but like, but it was still good. Like, like I said, they had that character building within each other, which was good. Still had a little bit of action, and more introduced new characters and more story building. So I thought it was good.
Yeah, one of the things I was shocked about is obviously, like I said, with the gameplay, it's just a lot of shooting, moving around, and all that stuff. Which in my opinion, kind of does add to the story because it shows like the resourcefulness of these two characters, which I feel like we're not seeing that much now because they pretty much just shoot randomly at this point. But the one thing I like is that the difference from the show and the game is that in the game you usually don't feel too bad about the people you kill. But in this one, where Joel and Ellie are at the store, and obviously they kill those two, but then there's a guy that sneaks up on Joel, fights him, and then Ellie obviously gets a drop on him, and he starts like begging, saying, "No, I'm good. We're done. We don't need to fight." And then he starts screaming for his mom. I'm just like, it adds that sense of like I don't want to say humanity, but like it adds that sense of like realism where it's like both people want to live, and obviously that can't always happen.
Yeah.
So
No,
that was
that's
nice
true.
seeing
I
that.
mean, maybe I come off awful, which I tend to do, but I didn't feel bad for him. It's like, you fucked up. It's like now you face the consequences.
Yeah, but at the
But
same point, like I think this is why I like The Last of Us because Last of Us 2 also deals with this like if you're on this side or that side, which I'm not going to go into. I'm just being very vague, and I think that's why I like this part so much is that everybody's human. Everybody's like the main character in the story, and he was the main character in his story, and it just gets shut. Because like, would you have felt bad if Joel died right there, or if Ellie died right there and begging, and then they just end him?
sadly, probably no, because we don't know enough about him, or at least I don't feel that connection with them yet. And I think that's probably one of the bad jobs they've done, right? I mean, we talked about last week's episode how although if you look at it from a standalone standpoint, it was a fantastic episode, but because it consumed 95% of the episode, you lost that time to get more attached to the main um, characters. So yeah, and in some capacity, like to your question, if it did happen, I went away like, meh. Like even when Tess died, I was like I, like there hasn't been enough time to have those connections. Where they did go, excuse me, where they did do a good job, and where you didn't really need the as much time for the character build, but I think it was you talk about the human feel for an aspect is the whole beginning of episode one with Joel and his daughter,
That
right?
was
Like
the
that
best
was
part of the show so
yeah,
far.
like it was emotional, right? I mean, I didn't once again I didn't cry, but like I was like, holy shit, like this is deep, right? This you don't see that often A in television or media, and B right at the fucking beginning of it, right? So like it does create that like, oh my god, what am I watching here, right? Um, but just for the straight character building aspect and getting that attachment, nah, not happening yet. I felt Walking Dead did a fantastic job with that. Not that super early, but like, as they were losing characters throughout the first couple seasons, I was like, oh fuck, I didn't want that person. Oh fuck, I didn't want that person. You know what I'm saying? This hasn't got there yet for me. That maybe this next episode actually does it. I can't tell. Maybe people that are listening, maybe they want to chime in and share their feelings and comments with that too. Like if they feel already emotional attachment, maybe for you it might be a little bit different as well because you played the game, so you had the luxury of already being attached to these characters, right? Versus me without that, I haven't yet.
I'm glad you're saying that because remember in like episode 1 and 2 where I told you they were cutting too much part out that builds that connection. I'm
Mhm.
glad you're starting to see that now.
Well, yeah, but like I said, like still as a show and as episodes, they're still really good, right? Um,
But you said the main part of a show for a show like this is to have an attachment towards the character, and you don't have one yet.
I'm still enjoying it though.
You can enjoy it,
Yeah,
but you're not enjoying it for the characters, which is kind of the main part of the story.
it can be, yes, but and before I shoot myself in the foot here, the biggest draw for me, the biggest draw is really the not really the zombie aspect, but just the scientific of why it is happening, and that's why I've always liked Resident Evil and their story because I like that stuff the best.
So
And that's why the very beginning of the whole show really drew me in, which you said obviously didn't happen in the game or got explained through other means, is because oh, here right in my face, they're explaining it in a scientific manner as to how this fucking happened, and I fucking loved it.
I think that
Like the
part's
best,
over now.
I know, but like the best thing I compare that to, and this is not even a zombie apocalypse show, but like you ever heard of a show called I think it was called Newsroom
I've
with
heard of it. I
the
can't
original
remember
Jeff
too.
Daniels. The very first episode of that too was Jeff Daniels sitting like in front of like a college classroom talking about how now America, well, in some sense, how America sucks and how we're no longer number one in the world. And that monologue was just so fucking good, and then like sadly it didn't really draw me in the show, but I still love the hell out of it, and it's actually like you can watch it on YouTube and everything. This probably has like a shit ton of views, and a lot of people loved it. That's kind of like what brought me or got me into this show. Like with that beginning part, like for whatever it gave me that newsroom feels like, oh my god, it's the very first scene of the whole show, and they did a really good job with it.
So now my question goes back to you. Remember
Yes.
how I said that should they make a show based off the games or should they just add to the universe? It sounds like you just like the you added universe addition to the show. Because like with the whole scientific part, with the whole Bill and Frank thing, that
Uh
was
huh.
never in the games. That just adds to the
Correct.
main story. So do you think they should have continued just adding backstory to the game and just completely cut out Joel and Ellie, or do you think they should have just focused on the
No,
main game or the main story? Because so far it's
I
like they're
think you
doing
can
like a
have best
weird
of both
job.
worlds.
Do you though? Because you said
I mean,
you basically said yourself
it's
that you're not getting the
so
connection which you get in the game.
which is I think like I said, it's not even really also the director and producer's fault. It's I'm not blaming the video game company either, but like episode 3 was just bad timing. Like how would you have done that later? You couldn't have, right? Because exactly, right? So like that's what I'm saying. Like as great as it was just really bad timing because that should never be an episode 3 type of thing. That should be like a 7-8 or something, right? Or to your point, it could be a whole total standalone, not even with this season, just like how Witcher did a horrible 4 episode series, which I still haven't watched by the way. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It had it does it have its place? Yes. I just don't think it should have been episode 3, but they were kind of forced to have it as episode 3. They couldn't have done it anywhere else unless, like you said, you posed a question last week, is uh um fucking what wow, brain farted his name already. Um the character's name.
Oh, Bill.
Bill, is he possibly still alive? And then maybe then they could have shared that long ass story. Who knows? But I just think they were a victim to their own timing, the time frame of the game right there. Um I think the other way they could resolve it is like if every episode was 90 minutes, maybe, but that wasn't going to happen. Um, so no, I still think you stick with um, Joel and Ellie, but um, maybe later on you still do more of these side stories. I mean, I don't know how many more there are, but or potentially there could be,
I mean, I
but
think we've
it
already
doesn't
confirmed that
even
there's
have to
nine
be.
episodes.
well, no, that I do know, but I guess what I was getting at was like when this is all said and done, like what else could you do? I mean, I guess really you could just do whatever, right? Like you could just have community start off in fucking Toronto. I don't know, just throwing something out there. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. As always, I'm looking forward to the next episode. What? I didn't answer your question. Is that what you're laughing?
No, I'm thinking of like what they should have did. Like obviously
Oh,
like
okay.
use like the main show as like just Joel and Ellie, but then also like kind of leave breadcrumbs like little flashback scenes, and then do like a spin-off series called Remember Us or The Rest of Us, where they show like
The
Tess,
rest of
Bill, and
us. There you
Frank.
go. That that
Um,
that that's cool. The rest of us.
where they show like Bill, Frank, Tess, all the other characters are coming in the future. It's
so
like it'd
so
be cool to just see that.
so even with I'm gonna flip the table a little bit for you because like you said, you would like that for the TV show and whatnot. Now, would you also like that for maybe the video games?
Yes.
Okay,
The only problem though is if the show gets done first, I don't want a video game format. But if the video game happens before a show, then yes, because it doesn't take away from the story.
gotcha.
But yeah, I would like to see it in a video game. Like if I could play like a Bill and Frank or Tess, origin story leading up to this, I would be down as long as the game comes out before a show or a movie.
I think an easy route probably wouldn't it be. I think we said this with a TV show as well, like the years from Joel losing his daughter to ending up in Boston.
Well, did you see Gears?
Huh?
Did
Did I
you
see
see
what?
Did you see Gears?
I said years.
Oh, I was about to say if I thought you said Gears, which brings me to like another uh, series called Gears of War, which
Hmm.
it has Gears of War 1, 2, 3, which is the main story. And the fourth installment is called Gears of War Judgment,
Hmm.
and that's actually a prequel of the other characters you meet along the way, leading up to the first one. So it basically is a prequel to the original story, but you get to see all the other characters that were kind of like side characters, now main characters, leading to the other ones that you meet along the whole series. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that would have been a perfect like example, but unfortunately, I misheard you there.
Hmm. Well, I think also didn't Resident Evil kind of do something similar with what was the like the off game that was kind of like a what do they call it, like a roller coaster type game where you're set on a specific path and you can't really move. Was it called Revelations? Does that ring a bell?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't that like them telling a bunch of side stories? Like, I mean,
Well,
they happen the same
Revelations
time
1 and 2
frame,
aren't
but
connected to like they're dealing with the infection, but they don't have any actual connections with the main characters.
correct. And that's my point. Like, you're doing the same time frame, but through other characters' eyes, right?
Well, what I was just talking about actually leads to the main timeline. Like, it's not just like a side story. It's a side story that leads to the main story. But
Hmm.
Revelation could work too. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, have
Hmm.
these events happen, but then have another group of characters experiencing other events during the same timeline. Like, that could work too. Like, obviously, Revelations works. The Walking Dead is doing the same thing with their spin off series, so that works too.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, they could do that with The Last of Us. If it's entirely possible, would I be down for it? Sure. Um, but I also would be down for seeing side characters journey to the main story.
Hmm. Well, we have to. I mean, for me, like, I guess you know, the verdict is still out because, like, I am enjoying it now, and I feel like I'm gonna continue to enjoy it. But maybe when it's all said and done, I'm like, I think I had enough of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel
Enough of
like
us.
I feel this is the problem. I feel like the show's gonna have is because it's not giving those big wow factors anymore. Like they already did in the beginning. It's definitely gonna falter off, and I'm afraid
Spoiler.
well, no, like the rest of the story, in my opinion, is good. And I'm just saying, like the things that it said you got caught with, I don't think those things are gonna happen anymore. Like I highly doubt, unless if they do something with a villain or another character, I don't think they could do any like other side character scenes like that. Um, and I don't think they could do any like fast forward of like, oh, this is what happened to lead to that, because unfortunately they don't leave any room for that at this point of the game. They don't leave any room for
You're
that.
so you're kind of saying you're really
I think
confused how this is gonna play out.
no,
Even though
no.
like
I know how
you
it's
know
gonna
the
play out.
main
I'm saying no,
points.
no. What I'm saying is viewership wise, like you said, you're caught with the opening part of the show, the Bill and Frank, the
Mhm,
intro to like the virus and like Indonesia and all that stuff.
mhm.
I have a feeling they're not gonna have any more of those scenes
Oh,
in
okay,
the
I'm
rest of the
following
show,
you.
and
I'm
I feel
following
like
you. Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's where the viewership's gonna start to teetering off.
Well, I mean, you know, I say this a lot. That remains to be seen, and we'll find out soon. But the viewership keeps on going up,
Oh, it's going up.
and oh yeah, it just keeps increasing. Like I think this episode and through our text chain, I don't think you commented when I mentioned this, but last week's episode was the first one where I had it buffer like four or
Oh,
five times on me.
yeah.
So I'm chalking that up to the traffic of their servers. I think they said I think last week's episode they were up to like and don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure I'm in the ballpark with this number, like 7.5 million.
Only 7 million. Shh, those are chump numbers.
No, but I mean that's really good. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think I was a little skeptical on what episode 3 may or may not do to their numbers, and it didn't seem to hurt them at all. So,
I think. Well, I hate to be slightly political here, but I think
hmm
episode 3 definitely would have helped boost numbers because it deals with gay characters and what's the big topic nowadays? Gay people. So
yeah.
I feel
Well,
like media
but to
catching on
that
to that would help.
to the same point, that's where I thought maybe viewers would fall off. But I
Let's
think
be honest,
once
90%.
again, those are the loud minorities,
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna say the
Exactly.
majority of Americans are
Yeah.
widely accepted of gays. We just
Yeah. Exactly.
don't wave flags about
Hmm.
it.
Well, some do.
Well, some do, but the majority just like, hey, do you? I don't care. That doesn't
Yeah.
bother me.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, like I said, that part, you just take that layer out. It was a fantastic episode. So,
Yeah. So, uh, I'm gonna pose my own personal question here
hmm
because I feel like one of the things that this show has surprisingly done a good job on is the zombies, and not
hmm
for how they portray them, because obviously that's good, but how they're gonna pose questions about like how like all zombie shows you have no remorse for killing zombies.
hmm
Do you have any remorse for these infected being killed because of all the information you've gotten so far?
no.
Because I think the reason why The Last of Us is a lot different than the other zombie shows is because obviously once you're infected, you're just gone. It's your body being reanimated, going to like a bloodthirsty mode. But this one, the reason why this virus is different is because you're technically still alive, and you have no control of your body. The fungus has basically took over your whole motor system. Your brain's being preserved because of the fungus, so you're seeing everything that's going on, and you're
hmm
doing all this stuff, but you have
hmm
no control of yourself. So seeing us kill these infected, it's like I kind of feel bad because there's still a human inside of that, and they have no choice but to do these things and react because of this.
Yeah, no, doesn't bother me.
Okay, because I was gonna say like maybe I think that's the one maybe like potential difference with this show is that they actually have a real person in that body instead of just being a monster.
hmm Interesting.
But obviously, you said you don't care, and I think the majority of viewers probably are the same way. They're just like, kill them all, kill all the
Yeah, I mean,
infected.
ultimately, it still resorts back to survival, right? I mean, you could take that same um, philosophy with just the actual unaffected people that are trying to survive and trying to kill each other. So, like,
Kill all the Fedra rebellions.
yeah, I mean, so it's just it's like it's survival, man. It's a post-apocalyptic world. Like, it's all about surviving.
Yeah, so like I said, not to spoil anything, but I think the
Yeah.
one thing that captivated me about this so much is obviously it's an apocalyptic world, but it plays all sides of like you know a cycle of vengeance. Like if you what was the saying? If you do revenge, you gotta dig two graves or whatever.
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I like cut part of it off because I can't remember, but I know it's like
Uh-huh.
something like if you follow vengeance, the person that you take vengeance on will have somebody to take vengeance for them, and lead to killing you, and then so on. The cycle continues.
Gotcha. That part makes sense, but I still want to know the exact quote now.
Yeah, let's see if I can look this up. Um,
If I've
let's.
actually heard it before.
You probably have. I just did a horrible like translation of it.
Well, it
Dig.
was it was definitely a unique attempt because I'm like the way you tried it, I'm like, yeah, I've heard anything like that before, but it kind of sounds cool.
Okay, it says, "He who seeks revenge digs two graves."
Yeah, see, I don't. I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure I probably have, but just not often to like recollect it.
It's also 100% possible because I did read like the Art of War, and I'm also into philosophy. Let me look this up. Who was it? I think it was an Asian philosopher, Confucius. That's who said it. I mean, it makes sense. Like, like they've also said, the cycle of vengeance continues. Like,
Hmm.
you kill
Hmm.
somebody, they'll come for you, they'll kill you, and then that person who kills you, somebody will come for them. It's
Hmm.
like it makes sense, and
Yeah.
that's what the story is about. And then also, can you break the cycle of hatred, and also seeing different points like, oh yes, I killed them, but like you can understand why they come for you, and can you make friends with your enemies and all that stuff.
Hmm.
I feel like it poses a lot of views in a gray area instead of it just being black and white, like, oh, they're the enemy, or whatever, kill, kill, kill. It's
Hmm.
like maybe we're kind of the same, and or like
Well, I think
once what's the saying? Same same side or other side. It's something with the coin. No,
what about you trying to be all philosophical now on this
I'm like
podcast, but you can't
maybe
remember
maybe
any
because
of the quotes and slogans and all that stuff. I
I
swear I'm smart.
dude, I'm telling you because I'm tired. Well, I'm like this every time I'm foggy. What's the set? The coin saying. You can continue. I'm gonna figure this out because I
What's the
know what I'm
question?
talking about.
Well, to your point, like I think that's also where also I keep talking about other shows, but like Walking Dead, I feel like did a good job too with that, with those type of situations where, you know, obviously there's a survival aspect, but at some points, it's like, hey, maybe we have to get along with certain people in order to keep surviving. So yeah,
Two
looking forward
sides
to
of
all
the
these
same
different
coin.
two sides of
That's
the same coin.
like no matter what, like you could have heads or tails, but they still belong to the same coin.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I just like that whole like point of view is that just because you did something wrong to them or they did something wrong to you doesn't mean you're that different from each other. Like you could just be the same person doing the same thing just from another point of view.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So I hope they show more light on that in the show because I feel like it might draw people back, or maybe it's just me liking that philosophical aspect of the game. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was
Well,
trying to remember it and I
no, no,
just
no,
got
that's fine. That's
lost.
fine. No, no, that's fine. It was quite comical. But yeah, I mean, obviously, thankfully, compliments to the Super Bowl. We'll get to, or well, hopefully, I don't know if you'll get to it tonight, but I know I will right after this podcast. So I'm looking forward
I'm
to
starting to wake up. I'm still a little foggy, but I'm starting to wake up
it.
now. Speaking of which, this isn't a topic, but
Hmm.
now that you mentioned the Super Bowl, which completely just like escaped my mind. So
Hmm.
Super Bowl's happening this Sunday, right?
Hmm.
And obviously, what's known with the Super Bowl's commercials.
Yes,
Supposedly, there's a lot of big announcements
regarding
to like
just
movies,
general.
games, and all that stuff.
Mm,
Do you have any like theories of what's going to be announced? Because supposedly there's going to be a trailer for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, which I'm looking
I don't
forward
care
to.
about that.
Well, I know you're not, but I'm saying what I'm looking forward to.
It's just funny, like you said, I love it, and I'm like,
That's fine. I knew you weren't
no,
gonna
no,
like
it's
it,
fine. Yeah.
but I also heard that there's gonna be like a game announcement there. I don't know if it's gonna be for Zelda or another game.
I haven't heard it as such. I think that'd be awesome. I don't know. I don't know either what it would be. I don't think it will be Zelda because as much as I like Nintendo, I think they're cheap, and we know Super Bowl commercials are very expensive. Not only they're expensive, they're also expensive with a very short window.
And also,
And
it doesn't target their audience either.
correct, that is very true. So I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be them.
Do you have any like
Um,
theories of like big announcement they're gonna make? Because usually they drop some big things at the Super Bowl, like cool new media coming out or whatever. Do you have
well,
any things?
first and foremost, Super Bowl commercials to me have been shit for I don't know how many years now, and then on top of them being shit, most of them are released already. Like you can watch them. So the
Oh
whole
yeah.
point of being like, like there were so many years where I wouldn't even care about the fucking football game. I'll take a piss during the football game, and I make sure I'm seated for the commercials. That is not how it happens anymore.
Okay, let me pose my
Um,
question because I don't care. Honestly, like you said, the commercials hasn't been good for years. But what I'm trying to ask is like
no,
announcements.
no, I know
Usually
what
they
you're
have
asking.
like announcements for stuff.
Yeah, yeah, no, I was trying to get to
Oh,
answering your
okay.
question. I just don't know. I know that that's not probably the answer you want to hear, but like, I don't know what big announcement. I'm trying to like really think about it. Like, well, because you got me in the game mindset. So like, what game would do it? I mean, Microsoft has a lot of fucking money. I mean, so does Sony. But I think if that's going to happen, it's probably going to come from Microsoft. Like, seriously, I really do.
Microsoft and Blizzard finally make their announcement. A new game comes out.
That would be funny. That'd be funny. No, but like, but I mean, let's say it is sake of art or sake of agreeing here. Let's say it was Microsoft. I think you would know more about their um a potential special announcement more than anybody if it's coming from Microsoft. Um, so do you have any thoughts?
So for games, I'm still up in the air because I
I
only
don't
heard.
even think it would. I don't think it would be a game. In my personal opinion, I don't think it would be a game. I think it would be like some sort of like cryptic new service thing or something coming out. Like they'll be very cryptic about it. Like they won't tell you exactly what it is, but it'll be an announcement, and it'll get the world buzzing and talking.
Welcome to Pornhub VR.
Yes,
Brought to you
oh
by
yes,
HoloLens, real
enjoy it.
robotic haptic suit.
Hottest
Uh,
man on podcast.
I, see what the game part is. I don't know. I thought maybe you heard of it because I heard like some rumors on Twitter. But for me, I'm looking forward to like.
Well, go ahead, share those rumors because I haven't seen them. So tell me, enlighten me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I just heard that the rumors were that there's going to be a massive game announcement. That's
Oh,
the
but they
only.
didn't
They
rumor
did,
what game it would
yeah,
be.
or like what studio was. Like there's
Following
going to be
you,
like a
following you.
big gaming
Well,
announcement, and then also like
if
supposedly something
if I
from
be,
Disney and stuff.
oh Disney, if I were to do the safe bet here, which I believe it may have already happened before in the past, probably fucking Fortnite.
I mean, really, that would make the most sense because media-wise, they pretty much have it on lock right there. So
Like play as Tom Brady. He's retired, but not in Fortnite. Like I mean, seriously, like that would not surprise me.
that probably might be something very similar. Like, oh, you can
Yeah,
watch the Super
play,
Bowl
play
right
as
now in Fortnite.
yeah, right. Play as Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski. Like I that would not surprise me one bit.
Yeah, but like
And
announcement
honestly, that would
was,
be the genius thing would be with that. And of course, they would have to get a license agreement with the NFL, which would be pretty fucking huge. But if you had skins to wear any NFL jersey in that fucking game, cha-ching!
oh, if they can have Marvel and DC products under,
I'm
they
sure
could
they could
easily
have.
get the NFL.
That's what I'm thinking of. That would be kind of huge.
Yeah,
That would be huge. And actually, and throw another caveat on there. They could even be like, whoever wins the Super Bowl, everybody gets that jersey for free.
that would be pretty cool.
So
So maybe, I mean, maybe that could be the big announcement that supposedly rumored is that, and most if it is, it makes sense to be Fortnite because they just are so good at collaborating with all these different companies.
if it happens, you better clip this and put it all over TikTok because I fucking guessed it.
But I'm looking some announcements I'm looking forward to is I heard that there's gonna be a Disney movie, and I hope it's for potentially the new Avengers.
Hmm. Would that be something they would have in their what do they call that? Their phase plan? Or do you think that's something they would keep hidden
Well,
to keep it a
they already
surprise?
told you the names of the Avengers movies. Like it's Secret Wars, something like that. Like they have two Avengers films coming out. I think one of them's coming out this year or next year, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have any trailers or nothing. We don't have any images.
Gotcha.
It's just a name, title, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that being happening for sure.
because you already have a whole bunch of big movies already out, like Spider-Man, No Way Home, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, She-Hulk, uh, Black Panther, all that stuff, Moon Knight, whatever. I feel like right now would be a perfect time to like give a little tease for Avengers coming out later this year or
For
early
sure.
next year.
Yeah, no, for sure. Probably next year, but yeah. No, I could definitely see that. Um, yeah, like I said, unfortunately, when it comes to commercials, it hasn't been like one of the high points for me anymore. So,
Yeah, the only reason I pose this question is because I'm like, I didn't
but
even think
hopefully,
about the Super
hopefully, I do
Bowl,
get surprised. You know,
but sometimes they make really cool announcements. Like I know the one, I can't remember what Super Bowl it was, but like I'm a fan of the Parts of the Caribbean series, and when they like show the trailer for Dead Man Tells No Tales at the Super Bowl, I was like, oh man, I'm done with the game. I just need to go look at this trailer again. For some
yeah, for
reason, the
sure.
announcements at Super Bowls are just really cool. Like they do really good theatrics.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I love me a good surprise, no doubt. So I'm probably talk about it next time on the podcast.
So, did they announce who's doing the halftime show for the Super Bowl?
Yes, Rihanna, I believe.
Mm.
Yeah. Hmm.
I have no problem with Rihanna. It's just her music is not my taste.
Yeah, me either. I think my favorite song from slash with her is I think it's was it the one with Calvin Harris? I don't even think I can't remember the name of the damn song, but I remember when I heard it, I had no idea it was her, and then when I found it was her, I was like, well, I'm not gonna not like it because it's
Oh,
her. But
is
I
that
was
Titanium or something like that?
no, 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 it's not
Umbrella?
Titanium.
No.
No, it's definitely not Umbrella. Hold on, now I gotta look it up. Uh,
Who was last year? Was that Snoop Dogg? And some of the other people. Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, and all that stuff.
this is what you came here for.
Oh, I don't think
I
I've
don't know
heard
if you
that
remember
song.
that song. I'm pretty sure you've heard it.
I mean, maybe I just don't remember the name. Um, because like last year, I was shocked. Usually, like halftime, like the concerts and all that stuff haven't been that good either. But last year was actually surprisingly good with Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre. I think Eminem was there too.
It was okay.
I thought it was
Well, here
cool.
I really like the weekends as well.
that
But here
go ahead.
what? And then since I'm a pretty big newsflash Coldplay fan, I like that one too. But
Oh, Coldplay was good.
here's the problem why Super Bowl shows suck, in my opinion. You don't get full songs. The set list is like what do they call it? Not melodies, but um like snippets of all of a handful, a
Yeah,
half a dozen of their catalog.
it's a
It's
mashup. That I'm good with
a
that.
mashup. There you go, perfect. Exactly. Thank you. It's a mashup. And like of being a fan of music, I want to hear the whole fucking song. Like, don't give me first verse of this song, second verse of this song, the hook of this song. No. Like mashups can be cool, not in that capacity. Absolutely not.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you because I feel like it's like a whole production, like a DJ production in live action.
The productions is another thing. Like the production on the weekends, I thought was fucking well. A lot of productions actually
I love how you say
are
the
done
weekend.
really well.
Whenever I think of the weekend, I just think of the meme where he's like looking around like he's lost. He's like, oh.
And they kind of did that during the show too. So during the halftime show, but yeah, the production on that one was, in my opinion, done very well. Especially the fact that the man had to go from like 400 level to the field and back or some shit. Um, but yeah, and I think the production level in this one will still be very fucking good. Um, Not a fan of her music. I do know a lot of her songs, but that's because radio and all this shit and advertisements and whatnot. But I'm not a fan, so
So is
so
she
we'll
gonna have
see.
any features? Because
I'm
like
pretty
usually
sure,
every Super
they've been
Bowl
doing
one
a
has
lot of
its
features. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, fuck, even Coldplay had fucking features, so it's like
Coldplay, that one was a good one. Like where they did what was it, Color Day or whatever? Is that what they did? Like it was basically the whole stadium was like in multiple flower colors,
Oh
and then
yeah, they
they
had the fans flip poster cards and stuff. Yeah.
yeah those are
Yeah,
good. And
it was
then
to me. I don't know if you remember it or not, but it had like a Michael Jackson vibe, kind of a little bit to it
yeah,
when Michael Jackson did the halftime show. Um, but yeah, I think they're still really decent spectacles. I just think like from a music perspective, me personally, I feel I get let down because even the quality too, like acoustics sometimes aren't that great either.
I
Like they
guess it's
rehearse
just
the shit out of it, but somehow they still somehow fumble it sometimes.
maybe I guess we just have different tastes because I kind of like the whole like DJ mashup set, like getting the best, like basically the best hits of them, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Um, but
I mean,
man,
I'm like I said, I'm not shitting on mashups. I think they're fine,
you just
but it's
rather
also a
hear the
time.
full one.
It's also a time and place. Like you're talking about the fucking Super Bowl. You're telling me, you know, for one time you can't give them an extra 10 minutes and let them do the fucking full set. Like, come on.
Costs more money. It's business, man.
So they got plenty of money.
Yeah,
And it's not. I don't know if you remember reading about this. I think it started when Coldplay was doing it, allegedly. But someone supposedly debunked. I can't remember who, but allegedly the artist was paying to actually perform to the Super Bowl.
wait, say that again.
The artist has to pay to actually do the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I thought that was, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just making it up, but I felt like I've heard that before.
I don't
I
know
mean,
if it really is true, but I thought someone tried to debunk it and say, "Ah, fuck that! I don't pay shit. They paid me." But like, once again, and it doesn't surprise me because that's the NFL.
yeah. Well,
The NFL is so fucking shitty that you know I'm sounding like a hater, but no, like they like you know how they do those salute to service like for the
mhm.
vets. The fucking government pays them for that shit. The NFL fucked up.
I mean, they've always done some shady shit. Like, to me, like the artist paying makes sense because it's pretty much like an advertisement for the artist. Like, oh,
It
look at
is
me.
huge. Yeah,
So that
huge.
makes sense. But the whole soldier thing, dude,
Yeah,
like, really?
I think they finally made good on that, but that came out like a couple years ago,
So is this
and
just what's it called?
this was like NFL wide. However, I guess good thing not to like you know put Chicago in a huge good light, but I think the Bears was one of the few teams that did not charge.
Thank God, because like that's
Yeah.
the one thing I love about like I love about baseball games is that there's always like a salute to service every single game. You stand
Hmm.
up for the flag. Like I
Hmm.
love that. And do they pay for that or is that just free?
I don't think it. I think it was only the NFL where whatever that association is. I can't think of the name of it. That usually sponsors it for the veterans. That association was the one paying for it.
That's stupid.
Don't quote me about the other sports, but I know for a fact that it came out and it was a pretty big deal that NFL was getting paid for that, which is
Good thing I
fucking
don't
shitty as
support them that
hell.
much.
Yeah, me either. It's my least favorite sport.
Yeah, dude, that sucks big time.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of like, I know these aren't topics, but it's like we're getting like, because like I know NCAA is known for being very scummy and just like basically siphoning all kinds of funds from all the players, like lighting us and everything. But I didn't know the NFL was that bad.
Yeah, well, FIFA's pretty bad too.
Well, with the World Cup, I think they're bad. I think regional FIFA isn't that bad, is it?
I I wouldn't be able to tell you. I just know
Because I know
FIFA
what you're talking about with
themselves are
FIFA, like the World Cup, where it's like a massive strain for like whatever country they go in because the country has to pay for it. They have to create a venue. They have to do all that stuff, and FIFA still takes all the profits.
pretty much all the slave labor that goes on, and then afterwards, all the
The cleanup,
stadiums
yeah.
go to hell. They don't even get used. They get turned into like I don't know camps or I mean it's documented. It's all out there. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm surprised with like those horrible like business plans like they're still going. Like as much as I would love to be at like a FIFA game, I'm thankful Chicago opted out for that because of the tax just toll that it would do for
Well,
everybody.
there's gonna be some games here next FIFA. You know that, right? There's gonna
Yeah,
be
it's going to
some.
be in
Well,
America, or
actually,
it's going to be in America, but not in Illinois.
you're right. You're right. Thanks for correcting me. I think Atlanta might be one's getting some
Yeah, there's
games,
like three.
but
It's
it
between
can't.
Canada, America, and Mexico.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
I'll fly out to those games. But I'm glad it's not in Chicago because that I mean we're already in a mess right now, and we don't need any more of that nonsense.
yeah, they're still trying to figure out how they want to fucking throw another 4 billion on Soldier Field.
Dude,
Uh,
so I know we're getting off the beat, but like
oh,
Soldier Field is such
yeah.
a weird like topic because they're trying to build another stadium for the Bears, and supposedly they said they rejected them to staying at Soldier Field, and then also they built Toyota Park for the soccer team, but now they're back at Soldier Field. It's like they don't know where to place any of these like athletic
Well,
games.
Toyota Park has no bearing on Chicago because that's Bedford Park, right? Or
Well, no,
Burbank. Burbank. Burbank.
Chicago Fire actually migrated from Soldier
No, no,
Field.
no, no. I understand that, but what I'm saying is the stadium itself is not located in Chicago,
Oh
so
yeah,
that
no,
had
no.
no bearing on. Yeah, you're right. The team's decision was to move out, but that has no. Yeah, they have the name Chicago on their jersey and team, but that had no bearing on Chicago themselves. I mean, now actually Chicago's probably happy that they're in Soldier Field because that's obviously revenue.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened with the whole Toyota Park thing. Well, now it's called something else. It's called
Well, it's what
Seagate Stadium or something now. I don't know.
I know they do like
I've only been in there like twice.
minor sporting event stuff, and they also hold Brewfest there every single year.
I think the women's Chicago soccer team still plays there. No,
Oh,
is
maybe.
it the Red Stars?
Honestly, I can't tell you because like people move all over the town or all over the place,
Yeah,
so it's hard to keep up with them. But
yeah, I think, but I don't really know. Um, but yeah, we're going really off the trails now. But Last of Us, we'll be talking about episode 5 soon.
yeah. Oh, let's see. So are they back to their normal broadcasting on Sunday next week?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. So I guess we're still following the normal track line where we talk about an episode every single week, and luckily we'll have that for next week as well. Um,
Yes, sir.
but yeah, I'd love to hear people's opinions because I really enjoy the moral aspect of The Last of Us, and hopefully they build upon it more because I hope it catches you, and it doesn't seem like it has right now, and I hope they do a better job at that.
Yeah, we'll maybe revisit that next week.
All right, so topic number 2, I could lead this one. So,
All right. Yeah, you definitely will have to be leading. You're gonna take charge of this one. Well, since you're gonna take charge, let me introduce it, I guess. So that way I
okay.
get somewhere. Then. All right. So our next topic, or bigger topic today, is Hogwarts Legacy, Harry Potter. And before you go on your very passionate nerd rage, as you're going like this, ready to lash out, I
No,
do
I do
have a
that for my
question
back.
though.
My back is stiff.
Gotcha, gotcha. No, I do have a question because we were talking about demos earlier, and I know you mentioned there's not a demo, but um, I don't know about exactly today. But let me preface with another thing. I'm sure maybe you're going to bring this up, but also the game itself broke Twitch records for what was it, like 100 and like 25 or 150 million or 1.25
Yeah,
or
I was
1.5
about to
million
say that
viewers
you give
live,
it more credit
something
than they
like
have.
that.
It's
Yeah, yeah, yes, I'm sorry,
1.28
that was way
million.
off. 1 point. I corrected myself.
Yeah.
Live viewers. What was it like yesterday or 2 days ago? Whatever it was, which
No,
is
it's been
fucking.
concurrent. Like
No,
so,
I'm telling you right now,
so,
it's not concurrent. I
so.
was looking at it earlier. It's
What?
not concurrent.
No.
It was when it was
Let me correct it. So
okay.
Monday night when it happened, 1 point something million. Obviously Wednesday or sorry Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's been like 500,000, four hundred
Yeah,
thousand. Today it jumped up even more. I think it was like at 1.7 million
depends
because
on what time. Because before the
because to
podcast, it wasn't nowhere
well
near that. It
well
was still
yeah
at the 500.
I think it was like 7 or 10 a.m. this happened because
Okay.
today is the official global release for the whole game.
Okay, so that was now segue into the question I wanted to ask. In relation to demos. So like there wasn't a demo, but they explained this to me. You said it was pre-released on Monday?
So unfortunately, this is considered like a deluxe exclusive. So if you got the
Okay.
deluxe edition, doesn't matter
Okay.
if it's online, physical, whatever, you're
Okay.
entitled 3-day early access.
Okay. And that is this a PS this ain't a PS5 exclusive, right?
No,
No.
this is on
No, it's
Xbox, PlayStation, PC. The only thing it's not on is Switch and DS.
okay. Or DS. They're always getting the short end of the stick. Okay, so no matter what platform, as long as you bought deluxe, you got 3 days early access.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So without the now kind of going back to like demo model and stuff like that, do you think, and I really don't want to take away from Hogwarts, but do you think that's another good practice for gaming?
Do I think it's a good practice? Probably not, but it's a smart practice because who doesn't want to play a game before anybody else, especially creator purpose wise? Like to me, this is like the most incentive for like people streaming, making videos that they get a head start before everybody else. So they
Yeah, but
would want
not
to
only
get
they're
that
getting the head
addition.
start, but they're probably also getting it comped. But we won't talk about that.
Well,
But no,
when you're talking about that, you're probably thinking about like game reviewers, like they get like
oh, I'm talking about the big streamers too.
I think that, well, I mean, yeah, they probably have something where they pay per modem just so they could play it, which happens. But
Hmm. It does.
those people have embargoes, and I think the embargo was actually at the same time that early access came out for this game. So I think it was a even playing
It
field.
started. Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, they
Which
had it already, the videos already edited and all that stuff, but they couldn't release until everybody else could release.
yeah. So anyways, I because that made me think, it's like, oh, maybe once again, maybe not all games, but you're probably larger titles, right? Because I feel like that's more, it may create a more a demand or excitement to be like, oh, here's people that forked over, I don't know, hypothetically extra $20 or whatever, and they're playing early, and maybe they were on the fence about it, and they're seeing like, oh fuck, now I can't wait to get my hands on that game, or what have you. So I was just thinking like it was a very interesting approach. But that, now I got that out, floor is yours, stage is yours. Please nerd out so everyone could whip it out and have fun with you.
So Hogwarts Legacy, I mean, this is a multi-topic thing. Like, we can go from like it just getting massive views on Twitch, which I think it broke the record for the most views for any single player game ever.
Yes.
I think rivaling
Single.
Fallout 4 and Cyberpunk. So that was pretty cool, and seeing it still have like massive viewership on there. I think it's also breaking records for like the most concurrent players active on PC, which I think is like 500,000 right now. I think it's still
Okay.
climbing. Like this was early access, like pre-release.
And this is still that last tidbit. That's still just for single player, right? I mean, I know it's a single player game, but
No,
that,
for this one, the
or
Steam one,
just,
it's just overall like all games.
oh, okay, that's interesting.
And this was before the global release.
Hmm.
It was like rivaling the top 3 games. So global release, I don't know what the numbers are now. If it actually took number 1 spot for most concurrent players ever, I do not know. But I know it was rivaling like the top 2 games.
So in regards to viewership, I think naturally it would either stand pat or decline, because now they don't have time to watch it because they're just busy playing it.
Well,
Unless they throw it in the background just to support. But in
Hogwarts.
reality, they're watching all these people at early access, but once they get their hands on it in a global release, they're probably not going to be watching anymore.
Well, this is the thing though, because you know how Twitch has drops enabled, so if you watch, you get loot.
Yes, yeah,
Hogwarts
that's true.
Legacy did something very clever, which I don't know if it's
Hmm.
a good thing, but they did it clever
Hmm.
for business. They have multiple drops where you have to watch like 30 minutes to get each drop, and it's not like 30 minutes at once. It's
Hmm.
continuous. You have to watch 30 minutes and another 30 minutes, another 30 minutes to get these certain drops.
Hmm.
And then they also have another drop where you can
Hmm.
only get it if you watch the official channel. And you can
Mm.
only do that within a certain time frame. Like they have announced it. If you don't watch it within
Yeah.
that time frame, you don't get
Hmm.
those drops at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
WoW did that once.
yeah, so they pretty much have their viewership locked down for at least a week, being high
Gotcha.
because of those drops being enabled. But then once after
Hmm.
that, it'll probably trickle down.
True, true.
But seeing like the great reviews for this game, obviously I don't like to hold reviews too much. I like to do personal reviews because obviously game companies do get paid for their opinions. But everybody seems to be like a 9 out of 10 all around the board, and I have to agree. This is a fantastic game because like you don't necessarily have to be a Harry Potter fan to like this game because obviously it's a fantasy aspect. If you like Harry Potter, it's just an added bonus. But the combat's great. It rivals like God of War, Final Fantasy. Like it's just a super smooth combat. There's also loads of exploration. The side quests in it are a lot of fun. The main story I can't say too much because I'm like 18, 20 something hours. I'm handful of hours in. I think I'm only like halfway through the like main story.
Wait, that only 20 hours in, and you said you haven't slept in 3 days? You're slacking.
You gotta remember, I also
You
have other things to do in real life. I can't
should have,
just.
you should have 60 hours playing.
I would love to, um,
You'll get
but
there. You'll get there.
yeah, like this weekend, I'm gonna binge 100% because right now because this game is so large. I think it's like 300 hours to like 100% it. I think it's like 50 hours to complete the main story or whatever. Um, I could be wrong on those numbers, but I think that's what I remember. So it's a massive game, and right now I'm also trying to compete because right now there's 0.0% people have the platinum, which means
Mm.
100%, and I'm trying
Hmm.
to be one of those first few people to get it. So that's it. But yeah, like going back, the combat's good, the exploration's good. This is one of the games where maybe I'm a little biased, so this might just be my opinion. But the
Mm-hmm.
side quests are good, and one of the unique things about this, which also might be a weird replay issue, is that there's 4 houses. There's Ravenclaw, Slytherin, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, and each house has a different gameplay experience.
Mm.
Like obviously, if you choose Gryffindor, you got different side quests. If you have Slytherin, you have different side quests. One of the kind of negatives that people are saying is that if you choose like Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff,
Mm-hmm.
you have the least amount of quests because they're not the most
Mm.
popular houses. So that might be an
Mm.
issue for them. But the side quests are good, adds to the world. There's also loads of other things, like there's pretty much Pokemon in this game where you go around collecting beasts, get them in a bag. You could either use them to craft potions, craft gear, or you could just sell them. And or you could take care of them if you want, but you can get a whole collection of animals. Uh, as I was saying earlier, there's potion crafting. There's also endgame. There's also transmog in this game too, which obviously if you have gear, you go around, get loot and all that stuff, and you increase your stats. But if you like the appearance of other gear, you can actually change it, but still keep the same stats, or you can go cosplay as whatever you want, which I was not expecting for this game because I thought it was just gonna be like, you equip the gear, that's all you're gonna do. You can't change the appearance. You could do all
Mm.
that.
Cool, cool. So since I'm ignorant to the game, or I'm sorry, game, the movies and just the lore in general, where does this game take place in regards to the
So it takes
movies?
place in the late 1800s. I think it's like 1874.
So it's pre all movies.
Yes.
So is it like in between Fantastic Beasts and
No,
movies?
the
No.
it's before those two. Fantastic
Is
Beasts
it?
takes
Oh,
place in like the 1920s to 1940s.
oh wow. So it's like prequel galore.
Yes, and but that's a good
Ah,
thing because if
interesting.
you follow the story, wizards have actually gotten weaker in time because they try to how do you say it, modernize with what they call muggles, which is just normal human people like us. So their magic has
Mm-hmm.
gotten weaker. So we're seeing true magic at its finest right now, and then seeing like all the other little like lore like Merlin and all that stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
That is interesting. Now you're making me a little more interested because, like I said, I had never um, delved into that IP. Not that I don't want to. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. I would love to actually sit and consume um, the movie universe at least and do a binge. I just never done it because I'm pretty sure I will like it. But the fact that this is like you know, dare I say, a true prequel. Now, is it canon? Do we know is it canon at all?
I'm gonna say yes because it's made by the official Warner Brothers team. It's by Portkeys Games, Avalanche.
Mm,
So it's from the actual people that make the Harry Potter stuff. So I'm
okay.
gonna say yes, it's 100% canon. And like I said, the one thing about Hogwarts Legacy that makes it so good is that you don't have to be a Harry Potter fan. The gameplay
Mhm,
itself is what can drive you in. And if you're Harry, like I said, if you're a Harry Potter fan, it just adds to it because obviously there's Easter eggs like certain family names appearing throughout the game that you'd be like, oh, I see the ancestor of this person now, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. But
mhm,
you don't need to know Harry Potter to play this game. Like
mhm,
it teaches you right there and then magic and all the
mhm,
cool things
mhm,
about it.
mhm. That's cool. We tend to talk about this a lot with games, but do you see DLC on the horizon, or has it already been confirmed?
So I was under the assumption that this was just going to be a one and done base game. That's it. Apparently, I'm wrong. Supposedly, there's going to be DLC. I think it's going to be free DLC, but I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done any research, but from the people I've talked to, they said, yeah, there's rumored DLC. It's going to probably be free DLC, and one of them's going to be like the Tri Wizard tournament and all that stuff, which is pretty cool.
Mhm,
Um, so I mean, with the success of this game, there being DLC, I wouldn't be surprised to create the longevity and the replay value.
mhm,
So I wouldn't be surprised if they add it because they do kind of have. I mean, it's a single player game, but obviously you do have to connect to online. Uh,
mhm,
there
mm.
is challenges and all that stuff. So them adding stuff to the game is 100% possible and pretty easy to do.
So it being a single player game, is there any way you think they could make it multiplayer in some capacity?
So it depends on what you mean by multiplayer. I wouldn't want to see it like 6v6 lobbies, but like maybe like a 4 player co-op experience or a 1v1 duel experience or 2v2 duel experience. I would love to see it. Will they do it? I don't know, which I feel like would be a wasted opportunity because even if they don't want to do like a PvP aspect, which they could really do in this game because that's how fleshed out the combat is. It would be cool to see like a 3 to 4 player co-op activity of you doing like battle arenas, battle scenarios, or just like explore dungeons because they could easily do that in this game. Like this game has pretty much the best how do you say it? The best layout for all that stuff already. Like it's already pre-built in the game. If they want to just add it, they could.
Gotcha. Do you think this game would be 10 times better with the Switch modes?
No, no. I hate to say it, but like motion control, I would not want to see that in this game.
Okay.
Maybe if they did like like Horizon does like a standalone VR game, like where you're
Mhm.
riding like a hippogriff broom or doing like some spellcasting, sure that'd be cool. But I think the way it is now is just perfect.
Cool, cool.
But
Yeah, keep going. I'll think of questions as I go, but keep nerding out.
but yeah, like I was shocked because like I came in, there's not many games like I said. I the last time I was truly impressed with the game was 2014 when Destiny came out for the first time. And then ever since then, obviously, I'm not going to use Destiny World of Warcraft because those are just adding on. These are just new games. The only
Hmm.
two times I've been hyped has been for Cyberpunk, and obviously, it at launch it got delayed many times, and then obviously came out buggy, but then obviously got better, which luckily it's a good game now. But this game, I don't think had any delays. Hogwarts Legacy hasn't had any delays. At least I don't think it has. And I don't think, besides one bug, which was very easy, I just had to like reload my last checkpoint. I haven't experienced any texture issues or any visual bugs. It's I mean, with as massive as it is, I've experienced very little problems. So
Cool.
Pokemon, take note. That's how you do a huge open world game.
Hey, you leave Nintendo alone. So no, it's cool. It's cool that you're enjoying it and how happy you are, and you're not the only one. Like, I mean, obviously, I've been seeing a lot of the, not necessarily reviews. I haven't really looked at anything like that, but based on like titled reviews or whatever, like it seems like it's being well received. The numbers are obviously showcasing that. You know, we often talk about sometimes taking the label off a particular item. So in this case, hypothetically, like if that label, and you kind of mentioned it, Harry Potter was taken out of it, it would still be a fucking pretty badass game. Um,
It'd be a good game, but I
so
don't think it'd have
so
the
would it be?
popularity that it would have.
That was kind of what I was alluding to. Would it be as popular if it didn't have that label on it?
Initial launch, it would not have that
If
popularity. I
it
think
wasn't called Hogwarts and it was called, I
Magic
don't know.
Kingdom.
Exactly, you know.
So because it has that Harry Potter signature, that's why it gets that huge popularity boost.
Mhm,
And obviously, besides it being a good game, that's what adds onto it.
mhm,
But if it was like called another game, like an independent but with the same gameplay,
uh-huh.
it would have to be one of those games that people just buy on a whim because they're interested in it, and then because the game is so good, word of mouth spreads like, oh, you
Word
gotta
of
play
mouth
this game. It's just so good.
and becomes
Then
like
the
a cult
popular,
favorite,
yeah, then the popularity would build.
like Octopath.
But have, I mean, you probably played games, but
Well, duh.
have you ever played
Wouldn't
a
be doing this
game
podcast otherwise.
that you were looking forward to, but you obviously you're looking forward to because you're interested in the story, you're interested in the universe, but you're like,
Uh-huh.
the gameplay wise, maybe it's not that good. I'm just gonna play it because I'm associated with I'm a fan of the franchise, but you weren't expecting much, and then when you actually play the game, you're like, it goes above and beyond any expectations you could have ever had. That's what Hogwarts Legacy is for me. It took my idea of what a Harry Potter game would be and just like threw out the window and be like, this is the gold standard for any game coming out in the future with like fantasy.
Um, I I think for me, um, I don't know if exceeds is the right word to use either, but I think you would somewhat co-sign this a little bit with me. But the remake of Final Fantasy VII really, like I to this day, I'll continue to use the word. To me, that game is a masterpiece. Like it's obviously biased because I'm a fan, but like I wanted to know and make sure that it was going to be done well and everything, and they did it. And you know, there I use the word exceeds my expectations. I thought that gameplay system, the battle system, was pretty flawless. I loved what they did with it. You told me it was kind of like your example was it was like Kingdom Hearts, I believe 3, but even more polished, right? I think
Yeah,
was
so
kind of your choice of words.
what I would use
So,
is like like Final Fantasy, how obviously you have basic swipe, block, whatever attacks, but then
mhm,
you have your uh, big spells that you would use, but they're on cooldowns, and you can chain combo them with other spells. That's what this is.
Yeah, and that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like Final Fantasy would be another great example because obviously you have your base comparison, which is the original game, but
Hmm.
then, but that's like the standard. Like you're just expecting it to just be high res. That's the standard that you have. But then if they make improvements and those improvements are actually warranted, then you're like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. These are definitely needed, but I wasn't prepared to mentally get this.
No, for sure. Because like my expectation, I mean, I'm just so um, I grew up on just typical RT or yeah, um, not RTS. I'm sorry. Time based time. I'm still butchering this. um, but just everything takes a turn. You select your ability, select your ability, you go. Um, a turn based. There we go. Couldn't think of that. Versus this was more fleshed out live. Yeah, you did have the little freeze when you were selecting certain abilities, which I still thoroughly enjoyed. I think you could even turn that feature off if I'm not mistaken.
This game has the
Um,
same thing where if you
yeah,
want to cycle through different like abilities, you can do that. Like it's slow
yeah.
mos, and then you can
I,
go
I
back
like
in.
I really think like to your point and how you're saying that game is, and now I can now know exactly how it plays. It really is. I don't want to use the word perfection because who knows, maybe something could be better than it. But that gameplay is so fluid and it's just so great.
So think
And
of
and I'm just so used to your traditional RPGs, but now the way that this is built, like I'm fine with it. I think it's great.
that system,
Hmm.
but even more polished, because that's what
Hmm.
this is. Because like
Hmm.
obviously with Final Fantasy, you do it. It's plays normal speed, but you obviously have to think your way through. You could think your way through, and it still acts fast. Like it gives the action feel, but
Hmm.
also that strategic feel at the same time because it's just so easy how to like combo spells. Like it doesn't feel like you're really thinking to or spending too much time like swapping the menus like Final Fantasy. It's just
Hmm.
super instant.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
because more like I was watching a little bit of gameplay from yourself and Chris, and a little bit here and there, and it seemed like it was more kind of like button oriented, right? Like to your point, like you don't have to scroll through shit. Like it's just like X square circle triangle, right? And whatever and
yeah,
combos. I mean, but like to that point, I mean, FF does have actually Crisis Core kind of is like that, but it's not as polished as how we're talking about these games are. But you could have every button or even a combo buttons macro together to do a particular spell or whatever. And who knows, maybe the next installment will improve on that.
yeah, like Final Fantasy
But
16.
yeah, I can't wait to see how that one
Like
looks. That's
16's combat has to be Hogwarts combat. If it's not, then it would be like what were you doing?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, to your point, like if you're saying this is 7R, but even more polished, to your point, hopefully 16 equates that or somehow comes up with something a little bit better. I don't know what that would be, but yeah, I think that combat style is really really good.
And another thing to add to this game, like with Hogwarts Legacy, and I think this is what surprised me, is that this game, Avalanche, I think this might be Avalanche Studios' first game, which if that truly is the case, they just propelled themselves to superstar status already just with this one game. Because it
Hmm.
seems like what they did was they took all the best elements from every single RPG game, every single tactic game, and put into
Hmm.
this one. They didn't gain the bad, they just only add the good. And that's what
Hmm.
that's what this game is. It's a combination of all the good throughout all the industries put together in
Hmm.
one game.
Hmm. Interesting.
Because like you could tell places where they took inspiration from. Like, does it create anything completely new? No,
Hmm.
but it improves on what's already been there to a place where it's just even more enjoyable.
Cool. And honestly, it's the way it should be done. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
So
or if it works and it could be better, then improve it.
or that, yeah, yeah, they can make it better.
But obviously, with the success of any game, and I'm not going to touch on it too long, but
Hmm.
um, there's obviously I'm pretty sure you heard about the drama, revolving around Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, and all that stuff. Unfortunately, because of that, and it trickled over to Hogwarts Legacy, and with that, people have created sites to bully people that played Hogwarts Legacy. Luckily, that was shut down because I think the creator realized what it was being used for nefarious purposes, and also after the game was released, they realized all they were doing was attacking themselves because there's an actual trans person in this game too.
Well, not only are they attacking themselves, but um, I mean, it's like how the old saying goes,
The
like
bully
even
becomes the
bad.
bullied.
Well, no, no, not that. I would say even bad um, news
That's good.
creates,
Oh yeah, any press is good press.
drama. Yeah, exactly. Um, and they were a recipient of that as well.
Yeah, they
So
added to the factor. But it
yeah.
actually got so bad to the point where they're actually bullying people offline, where they,
Hmm.
obviously were DDoSing them, hitting them
Hmm.
offline, and
Hmm.
even to the point of just like completely harassing their family, and making them cry. Like, I mean, obviously it's online. If they're not doing anything physical, you should brush it off. But the
Hmm.
fact that they're actually hitting your internet and sending you personal
Yeah, no, that's
messages,
well,
is
that's. I mean, isn't that a felony?
yes. But
Yeah,
most of those
so
places don't
they're
get punished
fucking
unless
idiots
it's
for
big.
doing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're idiots for even doing it because why put yourself at risk? Oh, because they may not get punished because they're not a big entity like maybe when it happens to Blizzard. Um, Still, they're fucking idiots for doing it. So hey, let them get punished.
Yeah, but it's just it also amazes me too that because of the wide reception of this game, a lot of people are like, I don't care if I get bullied, I just want to play this game because that's how good it is. That shows in itself how good of a game is. We're like, I don't care if I get scrutinized or canceled or whatever. I want to play it because it's good. And then
Yeah,
also,
that's the way it
obviously,
should be.
after everything came out, they realized that this is a very inclusive game where they don't know why they're attacking it because it includes every single whatever you could add to it. It's in there.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
from transgender people to gay
I
people
mean,
to people
even
of color,
yeah,
everything.
even Bill and Frank are in there miraculously, and that episode only came out 3 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
it's like, how they pull that one off?
So it's just funny that obviously with any good there's always going to be evil, but how quickly that evil was squashed because of how overwhelmingly good things are. I don't think I've seen in a long time. Like the fact that a huge hate group was almost instantly shut down because of overwhelming positivity is a good sign for me.
Hmm. Can you hold up the box again?
Yes.
So,
Yes, there's two versions.
well, that's not where I was going with my question. I thought you would have figured it out by now. So, why PS5 over Xbox?
Well, unfortunately, this would be a negative. Um, and I hate when we talked about this before, but the reason why I chose PlayStation 5 is because it actually has exclusive content on it,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
actual gameplay content. Like I think if you get
Really?
this, yeah, it's
Is
not
it?
it's not a big content thing. I think it's like a little battle arena, but still that's something that nobody else has, and it's kind of fun.
And is that what again a time exclusive thing or is that?
Yes, it's a whole year exclusive.
Ooh,
That's a big one, yeah. So that's the reason why I got PS5 is because it gets all the bells and whistles, which I think is the worst practice that one system gets all the exclusive while the other one has to wait a whole year for that. I don't think any system should ever have to deal with that. So that's why I went PS5 because it has everything.
gotcha. Okay.
But also
Just I noticed that. I was
be,
like, hey,
also
Mr.
because
Xbox
it is
fan.
it is an exclusive, it's also more optimized for PlayStation
Oh, well, how did that happen?
because they paid for it. You do know
That's
that
all.
companies pay for optimization, right?
That I did not know.
Yeah, there's a reason why they always do like the compare tests. So like, oh, this game runs better on Xbox, or this game runs better on PlayStation. It's because they pay for the optimization.
Interesting.
Like all Xbox games are 100% going to run better on Xbox than they do on PC because they're meant to operate better on Xbox.
Interesting.
Just like Final Fantasy operates much better on PlayStation than any of the multi uh, multi console games are.
Interesting. No, that I did not know. That is a revelation to me.
It's been like that since the dawn of time, unfortunately.
I didn't even know that since the beginning of the time. That I just did not know that one. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
Very, very interesting.
it's one of the unfortunate practices of the gaming industry that I
That
wish would go away.
is, yeah, that is okay. Wow. Okay. All right. I have nothing else to say on that matter. That's News to me.
Yes, but luckily, even though it is optimized for the PS5, I have friends that play on Xbox. I've actually seen the gameplay on Xbox. Just because it's optimized for PlayStation, the optimization is very minimal. Like it's almost nearly
Make
identical.
it to the eye. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
so no matter which iteration you get, like PC, Xbox, PlayStation, you're in for a good experience no matter what.
Cool.
It's just the only thing you're not gonna have is just that Hogsmeade mission, which sucks. which I mean, even though it's a little minuscule mission, it
Uh,
still sucks that other systems are not going to get it because who
yeah.
knows? One little minuscule mission to me could be like
Yeah.
the best mission to somebody else.
Yeah.
So hopefully that practice declines, but yeah, that is one of the reasons why I got PS5.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
But
So, and
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, no, I was actually gonna say if you had any final thoughts on it, or unless you barely got half to your point.
No, I pretty much got all my points done. But like
Okay.
hearing me talk about seeing some of the gameplay that you've seen,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you said you haven't gotten to the Harry Potter series, but
Yeah.
like I said before, you don't need to be into Harry Potter to play this game. Are you tempted to pick this game up?
The biggest temptation for me is it's surprising my sound. It has nothing to do with all the stuff you nerd about it. The one aspect of it being like dare I say a true prequel is I feel like the most enticing thing because like I know it sounds silly and an IP really doesn't have to be consumed this way. I think everybody knows that, but I just think there's kind of like a little unique cool factor to kind of dive into a new IP and then try to experience it from the beginning
Chronological
to
order.
exactly where not everybody has an option to do that because they are pretty good hardcore fans versus not
Like
and
Star
like
Wars.
like Star Wars and that I'm not shit on it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I will enjoy it. But with this said, um, I could play the game, watch Fantastic Beasts, watch Harry Potter. So doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Your time frame on it seems pretty large. I don't know if that's a commitment I have
when
time
I,
for.
when I say $200, I'm talking about just like 100% the
I
game.
know you said that. I understand that, but you know what kind of person I am as well.
Yeah.
So so I
But
don't
if
know.
you could
We'll
do it
see.
with Final Fantasy, you could easily do it for this game.
Final Fantasy does not take 200 hours.
It takes a long time.
I
Final
have
Fantasy
platinum.
VII.
I could go check my platinum. I'm gonna guess maybe 80 hours.
I need to see this time because if you did 80
I'll
hours, that'd be
check.
pretty impressive.
I'll
Because
check.
that means you'd have to do hard mode and all the challenges associated.
Yeah, I know.
If so, I
Now,
would applaud your gaming skills.
thank you. Uh, now, a game I am on the cusp of hitting 2 hours for
Two
is
wait, 2 hours or 200 hours?
200
Okay, because I
hours.
heard 2 hours. I'm like, that's not a lot.
And then the bigger impressive part is it has 0 achievements associated with it.
Octopath Travelers of the Continent.
It is Champions of the Continents.
But
I'm on the
that's
cusp
a live service game that's always going to be added. You can't compare that to a single player because you'll never run off content in that game unless they stop updating it.
unless they stop updating it.
Yeah,
But yeah, it is also a single player game.
but it's also considered a live service game.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Just throwing it out there, making a comparison. Okay, leave me
Okay,
alone.
okay,
But
but
anyways, okay, so done with that then, and we want to go to the top
well,
last topic of the docket. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna keep adding on to because like obviously you said you're
Okay.
this games, but so does this mean you are going to get it, or are you even solely remotely persuaded to getting it? Because I asked you this
No, I
question,
am,
you said
no,
you
no, 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 no. I'm remotely persuaded of getting it. I just don't think I have the time slot,
okay.
especially how early we were talking about the other games that are coming out this year, right? Like I got Octopath 2 2 weeks from now. I have Zelda in April, 16 in June. Um, and then what else? Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm missing. So and then FF7
Okay,
Volume
so you're
2
saying after that
in
time schedule, you
December.
might pick this game up.
Plus, in between all those games,
World of Warcraft.
never touched Sonic Frontiers. You still have my Kirby game. That's fine. And Warcraft.
Yeah.
So, You did sell it to me. If you want my answer, yes.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
No, no, you did. You did.
What else was I gonna say?
And I normally don't jump on bandwagons, by the way, that a game is super popular. It sounds stupid and silly. I'm like, it's too like Among Us was another perfect example. Like it became stupidly popular, and I'm like, but it fucking looks fun. I gotta play it. So it has happened, but normally stuff like that, it's like, nah, it's too popular for me.
So I have two things I want to say.
Please.
One, and you know me very well, where I hardly ever say any game's worth the full price.
Mm-hmm.
This might be one of the few games where I'm like, it's worth the $70.
$70, yeah,
Well, this is
cool.
the deluxe edition. I think the base one's like $60, but I
Okay,
paid like $70 or $80 for this for all the stuff, and I'm like,
gotcha.
it's worth
Cool.
it.
That is probably one of the better things you said about it.
Yes.
I mean,
Um.
no, I mean that has a lot of merit to it coming
It,
from you.
yeah, because I always buy things extremely discounted, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, like obviously I pre-ordered it because like I said, I'm a fan of the series, just like I know you're a fan with like Final Fantasy and all that stuff. But the
Mhm.
fact that everything just delivered, it was 100%. I have no regrets paying $80 for that game.
Cool. That's good.
So one final question for this game, and I know
Sure.
you're not a Harry Potter fan, but if you
I
were to play this game, which house do you think you'd be associated with?
I have no fucking idea because I don't know anything about any of the houses.
Okay, so I'm gonna list the four houses, and I want you to just take a random guess what you think you would be, and I'll tell you what I think you would be.
Okay.
Okay, so you got Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. Those are the
Okay.
four houses.
Okay.
I think the house that you'd be associated with would either be a Slytherin or a Gryffindor. Only because Gryffindor is more like, how do you say it? They are more out there and expressive. They're also considered courageous, but just because of the more expressive side, I think you would be associated with that. Um, I, man, this would be a different one too, because like you also seem to value intellect, so Ravenclaw kind of seems like that, but you also are more cunning than anything else. So I would say out of all three houses, you'd be more Slytherin because of the cunning aspect.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know anything about those houses. Uh, I have no answer. Like
You don't want to take like a
I
random guess what you think you might be.
no, because I feel like I would need to do more research.
You want to look at like a quick sheet of like what all houses represent.
Not now. But
Come
but 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 but
on.
but but okay, because you mentioned 100% of the game, right? And then you mentioned how every house has a different amount of quests, side quests, whatever. So in that game, do you then have to change houses to 100% it?
So this I haven't gone to yet. I don't know
Okay.
if you can change your house or if you had to just
Okay.
do a completely new playthrough because they have multiple
Oh,
slave slots.
gotcha. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know how that works yet. I haven't gotten to that point. Once I get there, I can maybe talk about it. But I'm
Gotcha.
assuming, just my assumption, not knowing, it'd
Mm-hmm.
be a completely new slave slot.
Interesting. So based on, I mean, once again, because I've never seen the movies or anything, does that happen?
No,
Oh, okay.
this is just gameplay.
No, no,
Like
no, no.
when I say gameplay,
My
I'm talking about
question
like
is,
for
do
playability.
characters like in the Harry Potter universe jump houses to
No,
switch out? Okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
Gotcha,
So this is just a unique experience just to get different POVs.
gotcha.
But I know
Okay.
earlier you said there was some games you wanted to talk about, nerd out about, but then we kind of cut you off.
Oh, I did that already. That was Octopath.
Oh, that was Octopath. I thought there was
I
another
mean, I
game.
wasn't as passionate as yours, but like. But I
Okay.
only had a demo to play it, not 20 hours. So, it would be different if I had 20 hours.
True, true.
But
Um,
somehow I would have played 30 hours in a 24-hour period, you know me. So,
yeah. All right. So I think that's pretty much it with me, unless if you have any other questions about the game.
no, I think I do, but probably, when you experience more of it. But I think what you shared was very knowledgeable and painted a nice little picture for me. So,
Cool. So I guess we can move on with the
but
final.
before we do, we damn well know there are millions of other people fucking playing this game. So if you're one of them, leave your comments and all your other good stuff in our comment section and let us know how you think about the game and how much you're loving it. Or maybe you're just that 0.0002% that hate it. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, which house you representing? I need to know
Oh,
that
there you
too.
go.
I'm
There you
representing
go.
Slytherin. That's the house
You
I sorted in.
sly motherfucker, you.
It's funny. They
All
actually
right.
have like a test online, like the Wizarding test. Like they ask you a whole bunch of like questionnaires, and
Mhm.
then obviously with whatever you answer, they sort you.
I should pull my friends since my other friends since they know me as well. Like, so what house do you think I would belong to?
It's just obviously it's like astrology. It means absolutely nothing, but it's fun just to compare.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, it's just fun to talk about because it's like, oh, you're a Slytherin, eh? Or you're Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Hufflepuffs. We don't talk about those people, but, but
Cool, cool.
yeah, we can move on.
But yeah, so final topic of today's podcast is kind of blanketed one word, and that is Nintendo. But to start this topic and conversation, I guess we would like to start with the direct that came out 2 days ago, which last week we talked about just directs in general and how Nintendo was kind of like the catalyst of this. And I always look forward to directs, although in all honesty, it's funny. I didn't mention this last week, but more times than not, as much excitement I get and look forward to these directs, they're usually kind of letdowns. I
Yeah, there's
think the
always like the
best,
one game that catches you, and everything else is like, eh.
yeah, I think what made Nintendo Directs where they are today and why they're so there's so much excitement for it is compliments to the Smash Brothers franchise. Because every direct, or if not every direct, at least every other direct, you're like, oh, who's the next new character gonna be? And it was always something that would blow up the internet. Um, they don't have that anymore. So I think that's why they've kind of been a little lackluster lately. But nonetheless, my takeaways from Wednesday's direct were actually overall pretty decent. Dare I still call it a letdown, but I don't know if you're aware of this. I actually rushed home and did a live stream,
Oh, you
live
did.
watch and react. Yeah, I was actually. My apologies. I was going to see maybe if you want to duel it for like a special How to Man Up podcast thing, but I didn't want to commit because I wasn't 100% sure I was going to make it home.
Oh, you know me. I'm always down for like the collaboration for the special stuff. It's just cool to talk about, nerd out right there and then.
Yeah, so my apologies on that, but also too, it's like I don't get that luxury because usually they tend to happen more in the morning, afternoon hours,
Yeah,
right?
which
Like 11 a.m.
sucks.
Yeah, which sucks. And so since this one was 4 p.m. our time, I was like, okay, I get out at 3:30, hurry up, get home, and just set up everything kind of half-assed. Maybe I could get on time, and I did, like by 2 or 3 minutes. So I barely made it. Anyway, um, I was able to pretty much predict what they showed for the most
All of
part.
it?
Not all of it. I said just some of the key things. Like
Like the
Zelda, I
one
think
game?
everybody. Yeah, exactly. Like everybody knew. Oh no, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I predicted it. Is I said they're gonna reveal a Zelda trailer, whatever it is, and they're going to reveal collector's edition and a date. I think the date was already known though, and that's exactly what happened.
That's almost
And
like concrete at any given point in time. I don't know if that's like
well,
prediction Astradamus
no,
or
they didn't really
Nostradamus.
have to release the collector's edition information today or that day. I'm sorry, but they did, and I was like, oh,
Wait,
guess
when does it come out again? May? I mean, they had to release it
uh
relatively soon.
no,
I think it comes out
wait,
May.
no, you're right. I think it used to be April, but now it's May. I think it's May 12th.
Yeah, so I'm like, they had to release it this time because I think they do like a direct like every month, right?
Yeah, give or take,
So
give or take. They might
this
skip a
is like
month.
the best time to do it.
Yeah. So with that said, and I'm actually tweeted about before the podcast. I said it's called Tears of the Kingdom for a reason because I'm crying that I didn't score a collector's edition pre-order.
Oh, you didn't get when I was about to ask that.
Yeah, no, I did. That doesn't mean I'm hoping they release more. Now it's not as great as the first Breath of the Wild, but of course, me being a Zelda fan that I am, I would still fucking want it. Um, So yeah, I didn't get to score it. I tried refreshing Best Buy and GameStop, and then I ended up uh, working out. So I guess I blame working out for this. I missed my 10-minute window because I guess they were sold out within 10 minutes. So
So
Um,
you and I both lucked out today because, or
your
not lucked out.
controller.
Yeah, I didn't get a
Yeah,
chance to
oh,
get
you're
it
the
either.
best.
I
Yeah.
actually, so I was, well, unlike you, I actually got in my cart and I paid
Fuck
for it.
you,
They,
asshole.
they, they actually took money out of
Thank
my
you.
account,
Ooh.
and it says order placed.
Ooh.
Site refreshed, kicked me off, whatever. Went back
Uh-huh.
in. Money was reimbursed. Order canceled.
Wow, that's a low blow.
I was like, no, and I
That's
was
like
going.
that's like blue balls right there.
Yes, I was so happy. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. But then on the other hand, because obviously with like the it was only through PlayStation Direct.
Mm,
So since it's online, usually they do like windows. Like obviously the first one is always going to be congested, and then like do like 15 minutes later they might have another
mhm,
one.
mhm,
I waited an hour. It
mhm,
constantly baited you. It says more, more, more.
mhm,
No one could add any more to their cart. It was gone
mm.
completely. Now I
Interesting.
was so upset because I was like, I want this controller. I want this controller. I don't get
So
baited for these often, but I was like, I need
yeah.
it.
So you made an interesting point where, and I don't want to fall too off the rails here, but it kind of goes through a lot of the themes we've been talking about today, especially with like collector's editions and whatnot. Um, you mentioned it was directly through PlayStation, right?
Yeah, only through
Um,
PlayStation.
yeah, and like for example, like I reserved FF16, and that was directly through Square Enix's store. And some games they do that. I think that for collector's editions, that really should be the model. I know Nintendo isn't notorious for doing it that way either, but like I really think they should for stuff like this. Like their little fucking retro controllers they do straight from their online eShop or whatever. They would still sell out just as quickly, but I think that could negate the scalpers just a little bit.
Well, this is gonna take away from the collector's value, but I think they should do order placements where they they only like this is like months in advance. Like
So I know where you're going with this, yeah. But
where
I agree. Well, let me let you finish. I apologize. Go ahead, finish.
okay. So what I was thinking is that the only way to do this, and I know it's gonna take
Hmm.
away from
Hmm.
resale market, but like anybody that places the order for the collector's edition is guaranteed to get it. They just have to make sure they pay, and then after that, it's over. You get this
Hmm.
time for period, and you have to pay it. Once you're done. That's it. You can't get any more. It's one item, and that's it. I feel like everybody gets their collector's edition. Scalpers will have no remarket sale or resale sale market,
Hmm.
and that's
Hmm.
it. But obviously, that collector's aspect will also disappear too.
For sure. That is a solution. I'm kind of in agreement there, and I'm not just saying that because I may have missed out on this one. But there's also a difference between limited editions and collector's editions, right?
Yes.
So for collector's editions, I'm in agreement with you. For limited editions, obviously would disagree because they're called limited for a reason. They're only going to print hypothetically whatever 10,000 boxes or whatever. But this doesn't fall into that category. It is not. Well, I guess technically it is a limited edition because they fucking sold out, but we don't know what that number is.
My controller was
Anyways,
limited edition.
was it? That sucks. That sucks. So anyways, with that said, I didn't want to fall off the rails, but Nintendo Direct, obviously, I haven't gone back and watched that Zelda trailer, by the way. I usually go back and watch it probably like fucking 30 times and like, dissect it and then watch other videos on YouTube of people dissecting. I'll probably still do that. Um, the other big hit for me was Octopath Traveler 2. We knew what that led into because I talked about downloading the demo, so very happy about that. The other thing was Metroid Prime being remastered. You talk about games that maybe I might potentially play or get or again or whatever. That might be one of them. Um, it doesn't take very long to play, and I wouldn't mind experiencing that again, especially it being a little bit remastered. So I thought that was a cool win. Pikmin 4 at the start. I thought that was a great opener. Once again, I kind of want to play Pikmin.
Did you hear the
I
news about Pikmin though?
no.
Apparently, the first trailer they had months ago, whatever,
Okay.
or was it? Let's see, like a year ago, whatever the first trailer they had that showcased it, because of the mixed reviews, they actually tore down the whole game and rebuilt it again.
I did not hear that, but I didn't really notice that.
Suppose that was like one of the big things I seen, along
Really?
with a lot of the controversy with Metro Prime Remastered. Like I think Metro Prime came out like what, GameCube, right? That's when the first one came out.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
people are like, it's cool that we're getting this, but yo, where's 4? And then also, why does this look like a remaster of Halo?
But it's not Halo. It's Metroid.
I know, but they're just comparing.
You would say you would tell Halo why is this Metroid? um, but anyway, I mean, if people are, I think people are saying that out of like dismay because they didn't get Metroid Prime 4 or whatever, which is understandable. But I don't know, like the Prime games are pretty good. I don't know if you've played any of them, but like if you're not,
I actually haven't. Is that like Animal Crossing?
no.
I haven't played any of them. They just look like weird green little creatures that you go around, collect things, move on. That's it.
Green Little Oh, you're talking about Pikmin again.
Oh, I thought, isn't that what you just said?
Well, I was still talking about Metroid, but let's go back to
Oh, I'm
Pikmin.
sorry. Yeah, Metroid. Yeah, I played Metroid. I've only
Okay.
played the GameCube, and the one on the Wii. I didn't play the Wii U one.
The Wii U one was probably another re-release, if
Oh, I thought that
memory
was
serves me
Metroid
correct.
3 or Metroid Prime 3.
I think Primes 1 and 2 are Cube, and probably 3 was Wii. And then the Wii U was probably the re-release, but with some new mechanic or something. I don't know. Anyway, we don't have to talk about Metroid anymore. But but I thought it was somewhat of a win. I don't know.
I mean,
But
it's cool for
Pikmin,
me because I don't remember much of it, and I would love to play it again. It's just the
yeah,
only problem is it $60 or $30?
40, I believe.
Oh, for it. Okay, that's not bad.
And we're we'll get. I'll segue back into pricing again for a second. But Pikmin 4, yeah, I want to play it once again. Like that one, I want to somehow squeeze in. I just don't know if I am. I know there. I think there's gonna be like co-op play that might be enticing. Maybe there's something we could play together. The one thing I took away
When
from
you
it,
say Pikmin, like when you say like co-op, does that mean like if you buy the game, I could just join you, like kind of like
absolutely
a
not.
way
Probably
out?
not. No, no,
Oh,
it doesn't. It's
then
not
that
like
doesn't entice me.
PlayStation. Microsoft. Yeah, well, oh well. Well, can't play with you then. Um, Probably do it locally, maybe. But anyway, the one thing that's interesting to me is like the astronauts slash characters, whatever that you play as. They didn't look like Alamar or whatever his name is, or some of the other nose ones. They looked almost like customized, which I think would be pretty cool if that is something that you get to do. I mean, it probably won't be that like you know versed, but it would still be kind of cool. Anyways, done with Pikmin. Did want to go back to talk about pricing for a moment because Zelda is actually going to cost $70, and people were kind of upset about that, and then also not only upset about it, but now wondering if this is going to be Nintendo's practice moving forward.
They
Which,
gotta deliver that $70 performance.
but they already debunked that and said no, this is not going to be your price going forward. We just truly feel like this game has to be this price point, which I don't blame them, because it's Zelda.
Pokemon, five
uh,
hundred dollars off the bat because Pokemon.
but I'll let you watch the direct, right?
Yes.
Okay. There was another game that caught my eye, and I'm pretty sure it's an indie game. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like that black and white
Oh,
looking game, and it looked like a dog and a fox or something. Like I don't know why.
I think
Like
that
the
game. I could be wrong. I feel like that game might already be out on other
oh
platforms, and they're
maybe
going to Switch, or maybe it's a new
oh
game that just shares a different, the same like art style and gameplay style. But
gotcha
I seen that
gotcha
one too. Um, there's a lot of stuff on the direct that I was actually shocked about. I actually have a picture because I was trying to remember the names. Samba de Amigo. That one
you
interests me.
really that is shocking to
Only
me.
because it reminds me of like a Mario Party kind of game.
No, that's like a fucking that's like a
It's like a
Guitar Hero type of game.
yeah, well, yeah, like some you know what when I say like Mario Party, I'm talking about like you got like game modes where you're playing, having fun, co-op. It's just it's not supposed to be taken serious. It's just meant to be fun.
No, yeah, it's definitely a party game for sure, but like it's not Mario Party though. Like
Obviously, it's not Mario
Mario
Party, but
Party
it's a
is a
party
game of
game.
mini games. That more is like a Guitar Hero slash
But that's what I mean. It's a
DDR, more DDR than anything, I think. But
but yeah, that's why it interests me because it's just a party game. I like those,
okay, okay.
and Samba de Amigo looked fun. Um, Another one was Deca Police.
That okay, so that one's interesting. We could talk a little bit about that. That is actually made by the Dark Cloud people, which didn't know that until the end of the trailer. And it kind of makes sense the way it was shown. I love the way it looked, like the cell shade and everything. The gameplay looked really good. I just don't think I'm going. I would like the story of it, even though I don't really know a lot about it. But I don't think I would enjoy the story, and that was kind of the turning off point for me. But everything else looked great, and plus, like I said, I liked the studio that it came from because I love the Dark Cloud, and that's who it's coming from the Dark Cloud people.
I was looking at. It looks like the art style looks exactly like Dark Cloud too, so I could see that. I actually had
Yeah,
no idea that that's from that studio, but I don't
yeah.
know. There's a lot of. I'm only gonna say it because that's the category. It's in JRPG games, Japanese action games that obviously have the anime style, but they have. I don't know. They just seem cool. Like Astral Chain seemed cool. Code Vein seemed cool. There was another. There's two other like Nintendo games I'm trying to remember, but they kind of like fall like along the categories like Deca Police, the look and the gameplay style. I'm just like,
There was another RPG or two that, yeah, to your point, also look at, I can't think of the name of it. There was one more that I think I did a ooh when I was watching it, and I was like, okay, that one might be on my radar, but I don't
yeah,
remember which one it was.
like there's another one called like Advance Wars. It's like another anime s games.
What? Yeah, it wasn't that one
Um,
though for
no,
me.
I'm saying like there's that one, and it kind of reminds me of like Valkyrie Chronicles, which I'm kind of
Mhm.
like a fan of. So that's cool. Which if you like real time strategy games, that's pretty much what that is. Or at least
Mhm.
I'm not can't speak for Advanced Wars, but that's what Valkyrie Chronicles is.
Mhm.
Um, but there's a lot of surprisingly good Japanese RPG games that I've seen.
Mhm.
I'm trying to look for that
There,
cop what
there
you're
is
talking
a
about.
now I remember another game that I actually pre-ordered already that was not in that direct, but I think it is going to also be on a Switch, and that's called Trinity Trigger. And that's an RPG type game that I'm gonna get. Probably might end up streaming that one too, maybe. Um, but yeah, sorry, keep going. I thought you were kind of scrolling through your list there. So
I am trying to find that police game because I'm trying to see if that really was um one of those games from the other systems. One thing I was shocked about though, I can't seem to find it. I was trying to scroll through it.
hmm
Was the announcement of the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy
hmm
Advance
hmm
emulations.
hmm
Dude, Nintendo, as much as they're greedy and
they
I'm,
keep doing it.
they
Oh
keep doing it, but it's a smart greed. They know it's something people want, and they could deliver, and they can charge you for it. And if you're going business practice wise, it's a it's a smart business practice. They're making their money. They know people want it, and
yeah, I like you know how much I love Nintendo. That's where they don't get my money. I mean, I don't subscribe to it. The only part about it all that I don't even want to use the word lures me in, but would lure me in is the fact that they're taking these games that normally you'd have to connect via cable and play together 2 feet from each other. Is that now you could play them online,
which makes sense.
which makes sense. Thankfully they're able to implement that. But that's the part that's enticing about it. I don't know if it's enticing to masses or not, but that's the part that's cool because if it, this tends to happen sometimes with a lot of people, maybe in your age too, but I feel like in my age group, where it's like, oh, I remember I was the fucking best person in the neighborhood in Mario Kart. Well, prove it. Now you can go online and prove it, or try to prove it.
Yeah,
I think
and
I
you just prove that your friends are trash and you just beating bad players.
exactly right. So like, I think that dynamic is kind of cool. I think that's going to be huge with GoldenEye when that if that's not already out. I think GoldenEye
Wait,
is going to
is
have a huge.
GoldenEye coming to Nintendo? Because I thought the multiplayer was only Xbox exclusive.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be on the Switch relatively shortly here on the N64 emulator.
Because I know it's the game is coming there, but I don't think the multiplayer is coming.
If that game is coming without multiplayer, that is stupid.
Hold on, let me look this up quickly because I know one of them. Maybe it's Xbox that doesn't get multiplayer, but I know one of them does not get multiplayer.
Even whichever way that is pure stupidity. Why would you even launch it then?
Good.
I'm almost positive for
Okay.
Switch there's online play. I'm almost positive. If I am wrong there, then
Ah,
holy shit.
it's Xbox. GoldenEye
Really?
007 won't include online multiplayer on Xbox
Why? Why wouldn't you do? Is it because of
because
controlling?
it's because it's a paid exclusive.
Nintendo has a
Nintendo,
paid exclusive. That blows my mind.
yep.
What?
Nintendo paid for the
What?
rights for the online.
That is madness. And doesn't Microsoft own Rare?
Yeah, but just because they own Rare doesn't mean they own like the 007 name for that.
I get that,
Because
but
just like
wow.
Blizzard can't make certain Marvel games even though they already made it before.
Wow. Did you say time exclusive or just exclusive exclusive?
From what I mean, I don't know if they've updated it, but from what I read, it doesn't look like it's coming at all.
Wow.
The base game, the campaign
Revelation.
story is there, just not the multiplayer.
Yeah, but that's not where that game has its legacy.
I know.
It's not. Wow, that is so interesting. Okay. Um okay, so back to the direct. Any more takeaways?
uh, yeah. I unfortunately I can't remember them. But no, I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of cool things. This is gonna come to a conversation about remasters and remakes because I like it if it's done as like an appetizer for like the main course of like another game. But do you feel like they're making all these remasters and remakes just because they want to for cash grabs and not because they want to make any more new games? Like I seen that Metro Prime Remastered is there. I seen Kirby Dreamland Deluxe is coming out. Then obviously PlayStation, Xbox.
Kirby Deluxe, so Dreamland Deluxe, that I think is a rebuild though.
You think it's a complete rebuild, not the Wii U upgrade
But
version?
no, I think there's a rebuild. And plus also in the direct they did say they added that epilogue, which is kind of pretty cool.
I'm a fan of like additional story. But the reason why I pose this conversation is because it seems like like every other day you're getting like a remaster, remake, whatever.
And that's across all platforms. And I'm with you. And it is a topic also on social media and stuff. I mean,
Because like I want to say I'm against it, but some of these remakes are good.
no,
But
some
I'm
are.
like,
I
it
mean,
also kind of takes away from extending the series.
we're what I don't like when this happens is if it's a straight emulation. Like fuck that shit,
Oh, what?
and that seems to be a huge Nintendo practice. But
Yeah.
the Prime one, for example, I think it's not a rebuild. I think it's just rehanced, right, or enhanced.
Hmm.
Which I think you seem to be somewhat of a fan of, right? Because you always, dare I use the word, complain about how things aren't optimized well and should be better. And
Yeah, but
For GameCube's times, it still was great for the times. It looked great, but now if you get it fine tuned to look even better on the Switch, I think is a good
so
thing.
we also got to clarify.
Okay.
When I'm talking about enhancements, I'm talking about for that generation. You can't go from GameCube, which was at the best of its time, to
Hmm.
20-ish years later to
Hmm.
being completely outdated, control wise, gameplay wise, and all that stuff.
Hmm.
That's where my enhancements drop the line. It has to be that same generation. Like, for example, Cyberpunk right here. Um, this came out PS4, Xbox. It got optimization for PS5 and enhanced versions and all that stuff, and other games are doing that, but that's within that generation. It's not like a 20, 30-year difference. That's my problem. If you're just upgrading visuals, that's a huge issue. And you're still charging $40 for that. Like Final Fantasy, it makes sense. 40.
Yeah, but I'm following you, and I'm half with you because I still think that's better than just getting a direct emulator and paying $40 for that.
Just because it's better doesn't mean you should do it.
Well, now we're talking about bad and good bussiness again.
Yes. Like I said, if I'm going from enhanced, it has to be the same generation. It can't be 20, 30 years later. Like
Oh, okay.
it's just not worth it. 40th price. Like for like, would you? I mean, obviously you'd probably say yes if I use Final Fantasy, but
Yes.
obviously you would rather take a true remake like Final Fantasy 7 and Crisis Core than just an enhanced version, right? And you still get that $40 price tag, but it enhances that gameplay experience. You're not getting that with Metroid Prime Remastered. And I feel like that's a
For
huge
those that don't know, I
disservice.
shrugged.
I feel like with that price point, it's like a huge disservice to the players. It's like, oh, you're just doing it for money. That's it. Like you're just enhancing
and
slight
and,
visuals
and,
as anybody could do.
and people are saying that, no doubt, no doubt, people are saying that. Um, in my tiny defense of it, like I said, at least you're getting something that's been upgraded, whether it's just resolution, frame rate, whatever, instead of giving a direct emulation, which they do with their online services. So
Yeah,
that's
so
my
it's
only
like you could
defense of
either
that.
get crap or you can get polished crap.
I'm for polished crap. Give me that shiny piece of crap.
Uh,
Um,
I guess if
but
you were
with
to
that,
choose the lesser evils, I'd rather go for enhanced, but
and that's and that
I'd rather
and that's
choose
and
premium.
that's basically all I'm doing in this situation. I'm not advocating for it. I'm with you. I'm not advocating for it. But the fact that they're giving us polished crap, I would rather take polished crap than crap. Okay. So anyway, we mentioned tongue in cheek, good and bad bussiness, and with that, like since the topic really is Nintendo,
Nintendo.
it did come out in social media that Nintendo, to retain their employees, are giving everybody a 10% increase, which, I think you kind of mentioned it loosely that, oh, that's why Zelda's now costing $70. And people, once again, tried to make that correlation, but Nintendo quickly said, like, look, yes, it is, this game is costing this much, no doubt, but that's not going to be their practice going forward. Sure, it will be their practice for their mainline titles, no doubt. But we're talking about last week. We kind of even got into a little bit of a ethical debate on it. Um, and this is good. Like kind of going back a little bit to last week's podcast. Like, I always give the devil's advocate approach. You know that. Um, but these are the things you like to see, right? Like these are the things you like to see, you like to read, and you applaud. So I'm glad that it came out that they're paying all their employees, even though they're reporting losses, which is also quite odd for Nintendo. Um, that they're actually giving everybody pay bump 10% across the board. So, and I think they also had this come out somewhat recently, like all the higher ups and the execs and all that stuff. Executive leadership took pay cuts when they were doing bad as well. I don't know if you remember seeing that at all.
I remember a company doing that. I just can't remember which company, which is a
Yeah,
good thing because, like, obviously the only reason big CEOs can make money is from their employees, and if their employees aren't being, uh, what's it called, sufficiently compensated, then why should the CEOs take all the money?
mm-hmm.
No,
So,
yeah.
oh no,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna add on, like, yeah, no, I think it's
Yeah.
a great thing because, like, obviously you always want to improve the workplace and money for people so they can have better lives. But also, in my opinion, if you increase the price, it may also invite incentive to work harder. Like you're like, oh, they're starting to see me as value. Let me make sure I
Oh yeah,
actually
for
put more
sure,
effort into it, and
for
that
sure.
may correlate to better products being made.
And it also, yeah, it should, in theory, instantly induce positive culture change. Or not that they need culture change, I'm sorry, but just, happier culture. And to your point, it should hopefully give results. Um, Now we could argue about that, which you don't think the results are good, and me, some of the results have been good.
Wait,
But
I didn't say there's any bad.
huh?
I didn't say there's any bad to that.
No, no, not to that. I'm saying like the results of what they've been pushing out haven't been good. Like Pokemon, for example. Although I don't
Well,
think Nintendo's fully behind
I think you
Pokemon, but
misunderstand my gripe with Nintendo. I've never had a problem with their games. Yes, they use the same IP and all that stuff. Yes, but they always innovate within their IP. I've never had a
hmm
problem with their games. It's their
hmm
system I have a problem with.
hmm well, same difference because,
No,
like, I mean, not
games
saying
and
that.
systems
So,
are not the same.
no, no, no. What I mean by that is like we're trying. I'm trying to make the correlation between the pay bump the employees are getting to what you want to see in return is to better product, whether it's the games or the system, the hardware, or the software. It's still under the Nintendo umbrella. So
Different, what's it called? Different divisions though.
probably,
If they're
but
saying like
but
they're only boosting like the console division department, then I'm like, okay, they better make a better system. But this is all
but
around.
exactly. So, but because it is all around, you would like to see better hardware.
Yeah, but The
That
games
that's
I have
that,
no problem with.
that's basically what I'm getting at.
But
So
they still make a playable system. Like it's not
yeah, and
unplayable.
that's always been my thing. Like my and we argue about this all the time or debate about this all the time. Like I said, I know what I'm getting on Nintendo. I know it's not going to be Sony. I know it's not going to be Microsoft. I know that, and I am fucking fine with that.
I think the difference between you and me is you're willing to settle. Well, I want more.
And that you know what that is fine. That is fine. And if I get more, then I'm even more happier. But since we're on this still on this topic of Nintendo, who do you think is next in the race to announce their next big hardware?
Like out of PlayStation, Sony, or sorry, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo,
Do you
100%.
think it's going to be
I
next?
mean, they,
And do you think it's going to happen soon? And I'll give a window of soon. 1 year.
no, I have a
No?
feeling
Okay.
it's going to be within 2 or 3 years because if it wasn't for the Steam, is it Steam Deck, whatever
Yes.
the other one came out, if it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't for that, they probably would have did it sooner. But because they see how well that's performing,
Mm-hmm.
they probably have to. If they're gonna do like a Switch enhanced version, they have to make
Mm-hmm.
sure it's better than that. And I don't think they're technically or they're ready at this point for that.
Me personally, and I'm sure this exact thing will probably come out of their mouths as well. I don't think they care what that does and how it's performing. I really don't.
I think this time they do.
You
And
think so?
obviously they'll make their money, but I think the overall view of their system would definitely be darkened significantly for it. So that's what I'm saying. It'll probably be another 2 to 3 years before we see like a Switch Pro or a Switch DXL or whatever they want to call it.
Now, with that said, you firmly feel or believe it's going to be a Switch 2 of some sorts.
I mean, realistically, the device is smart. It makes sense. Have it portable and stationary. It's a really smart device concept. I think it would be done for them to switch because like obviously the DS made them a lot of money. Um, obviously the Wii U was kind of like that beta thing, but didn't do so well. But this is like the best of both worlds. You get a good stationary console and you get a good portable console.
I
And seeing
definitely.
the go on.
Oh no, go finish your thought.
I was gonna say the Steam Deck shows that they can rival modern consoles, so it's like why not just keep going with that?
So everything you said right there, I wholeheartedly agree. It really the uniqueness of that really makes it um, an awesome system or console slash handheld, whatever. It's a hybrid, right?
Mm.
I really, and I think this gets said a lot. I'm sure Sony and Microsoft wish they could do their own. I don't know if they still
Well,
can
Sony
or
did. They just decided to drop
well,
it.
did they really?
Yes, the PS Vita. They completely canceled it
Well,
within 3 years.
that's but they didn't have like the docking concept. Like I think
Oh no, they definitely
you
did.
could screen share it. They had a dock too.
There's well, they didn't have like an actual dock for the PS Vita, but they had a what do you call it? An edition.
Like screen share.
It was called
Oh,
PlayStation TV, where your
oh,
PlayStation Video would connect to that, connecting to the
yeah,
TV.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was like, yeah. I mean, that
But
was like
that's
a
still the
screen.
PS Vita like extension.
Yeah, it was like a wireless version. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Anyway, I, I, I think you're probably right as far as timetables. Where there's still, I guess, another thing to bring in this conversation. I shared with you that it's now the third most selling system
Psh,
of
only
all
third
time. Only third,
behind
with two,
PlayStation.
with two being PlayStation 2 and one being one of their own in the Nintendo DS, and that's I guess the whole family over
Wait,
time.
the DS is in second place.
No, DS is in first place.
DS is in first place. What?
Yes.
I thought it was the PS4 that was in first place.
No. PS2 second,
Wow.
and yeah, so they have their own record to break. Um, and the reason why PS2 is two and is because they had um the the benefit of time and where the world was at that time, where their console was a cheap alternative and a very damn good alternative, if I may add, to being a DVD player and for every home. So that's why that one did so well. Um, but yeah, I mean the Switch is doing fucking phenomenal. I agree. I wouldn't. I would. I'm really curious to see what they would do beyond the Switch if they were to really really kind of change it up. And notorious is, or I'm sorry, Nintendo is notorious of doing that, and that's kind of scary for me because I really do really like the Switch.
If I was to see
Um,
a different iteration of a Switch, I think they'd go back to the Wii U format. And I know that sounds,
I hope
I
not.
know that sounds very
I
controversial, but listen
hope
to what I'm going to
not.
say.
Go ahead.
They will have two versions: the portable version and the stationary version. Obviously, like with the PlayStation, the disc and discless, and it obviously Xbox is the same thing. I think that's if Nintendo was to do something different, it would be that where they have a stationary version for like $400 that it has the best performance you're gonna get, and they have a portable version.
I I see your line of thought. I don't think they would. I hope they don't do that. First, let me preface that. I hope they don't do that. But I also don't envision them doing that because why reintroduce a handheld only market again? You've conquered that. You've brought the best of both worlds. You don't need a handheld version because it's part of your main console. I think that would be a very
You're
bad
talking
busting,
about the same.
a bad bussiness
You're talking
decision.
about the same company that sells two different versions of the same
I
game. Why couldn't they sell like a stationary version for $400 and then portable version adds as like an extra controller or a
I mean,
system
technically, they're already doing that with the Switch, right? With the light. If memory serves me correct, right?
does it add on to the original? Like, do
No,
they
I mean,
connect to
I
each
think
other?
it's just stationary. It doesn't dock,
Oh, well,
don't they?
well, if
Right?
it doesn't dock, then that's not stationary. It's portable.
Or I'm sorry. Well, yeah. But what I mean, straight portable. My fault.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. But that's what I'm saying. Like, knowing Nintendo and their bustiness
Hmm.
practice of making two versions and combining it to one, why
Yeah,
can't they make a stationary and then be like, oh, well, we got this portable version that acts as like a connector to that one, but you could also move with it.
yeah. I hope not. I hope not. Um,
I'm just saying
I
this
hope.
is like a scenario that they could. I think they'll still follow the Switch format.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying, businesses like to copy businesses, and Xbox and PlayStation both have two different versions of their console.
yeah. But they don't have discs anymore. They got these little itty bitty SD kind of things. I highly doubt that's. Nah,
No,
I
the
don't think so.
cartridge could still be the same. It's just one has more performance than the other. Because that's pretty much
Eh,
what the Xbox Series S and X is. The X is obviously best performance, while the S is more compactable. Is that the word? And just meant for easy transport and easy use.
yeah. I don't think they need that. I mean, you
It's
see how
Nintendo.
they're game
Do they need it?
exactly.
No, but they're Nintendo.
Eh. Now, let's talk about real crazy thoughts.
Oh, they go full, 180. They're gonna go back to the SNES Ultra cartridge based again, like big old blow it in
Could
cartridge.
could we see a multi mothership partnership with a hardware console, i.e., Nintendo and Sony team up like they were supposed to decades ago and come up with something together?
Honestly, at this point, and I'm only saying this because I mean, obviously, Nintendo and PlayStation they're both very successful, but because Microsoft is multi, how do you say it? Basically, they're not locked into one system. They're all over. They're universal. It would make sense to compete with them because Xbox is making the most money. So I mean, if you have a PlayStation Nintendo collaboration making an ultimate device, it's the only way to knock Microsoft down a peg with money.
Well, I don't. That could be tough for another day, but I don't dare say I don't think that's really the reason. I just think like
But I don't think it'd be Microsoft. Or sorry, I don't think it'd be PlayStation, Nintendo. I think it'd be Nintendo and Xbox because they
either which
use their streaming stuff already
either which way. I mean, like I said, I used Sony's example, but
because they're
it wasn't
Japanese
it.
company. Yeah, I get it.
Um, but it could very well be right because I don't want to say they control the market over because they don't, but they have a huge higher presence than they do here, and Microsoft could obviously assist with that, especially if they follow up with this Activision deal merger. Um, just throwing a wild thought out there. I don't think I've read it anywhere, but who knows? Who knows?
See, obviously, it'd be cool to see Nintendo products on other systems like either PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. The only problem is if they do that, they're going to reach Xbox issues, which is being too universal. they won't have there'll be arguments of like, why do they need their own system when they already have everything else? You know what I mean? Obviously they'll be making their money, but like they'll be like saying like, oh, well now we don't need to be with just them anymore. We can go anywhere and get them.
Who's we?
Consumers. Like they're like, oh, if they have a partnership and Nintendo, PlayStation, or Nintendo and Xbox have a little baby and they're now a joint collaboration, they'll be like, why do I need to buy these like this individual Nintendo product when I could just go with them and get their games
Well,
there?
well, I think the line of thought would be there wouldn't be an individual anymore. I mean, at least during that generation, right? Because it would be we like to talk, or I like to talk about contractual agreements on here, but it would be a contractual agreement. Hey, from this year to 12 years down the road, this is our hardware. So we're going to work on, and then after that time, they divorce again, and come up with their separate thing. Once again,
Oh, they would
super crazy,
definitely they would own it.
super crazy thought. But is it a possibility? It's kind of
It's a
all
possibility, and those two, if that happens, those two companies would definitely own the monopoly on that generation for sure. There's no doubt about
yeah.
it.
Would be very interesting. I mean, I'll be the first to sit here and admit, like, if I get, now you're gonna laugh at me, like, see, you do want your Nintendo IPs to look better and play better. Well, I wasn't totally against that, but yeah, to see a Zelda like on a Sony PlayStation type or Microsoft would be like fucking euphoria.
I, I love how you have that argument because you know it's a contradiction, but you know you want it to.
No, it's slightly yes, but like I told you, I'm fine the way it's done on Nintendo. It doesn't bother me like it bothers you. Would I like to see it in far better mediums and stuff? Of course. That's why I think I want to see a live action so bad. But I'm fine where it's at.
You could be fine, but still want to move more.
I'm the one that's grown up on 8-bit and all that shit.
So was I.
But not as much.
Okay, whatever. You were there when it was just black and white, and you were playing with sticks and balls and balls and balls.
Pong. I was playing Pong. Damn it, Pong.
I had to use my own personal joystick for that. But no, it'd be cool.
It'd be, I mean, I don't know. I personally, I probably don't think it's gonna happen, but it would be.
I think it's more likely than not at this point. I really do. Just because, like I said, Microsoft is in a perfect position of just being universal. Do they really need their Xbox anymore? No. But if they have Nintendo join in on them, there's another reason to add a console. Because like at this point, because all their games are PC, cloud, mobile, whatever, having this Nintendo work with them and get their games on there, and then also having a device like Xbox delivers the performance, Nintendo delivers the games. Best of both worlds, right there. Ultimate partnership.
Yeah, I mean, I think whoever were to be able to work with Nintendo in that capacity would be ultimate partnership. I mean.
And the reason why I'm saying Microsoft is because, let's be honest, PlayStation and Nintendo would probably butt heads a lot. Because PlayStation and Nintendo are very set in their ways, and if they have to introduce different ideologies to each other, there's gonna be some conflict. While Xbox seems to be the more progressive company at this point in time.
They can't afford time exclusives.
Well, they can afford it. They just don't want to afford it.
Okay, fair enough.
Like if they're spending billions on companies, I think they could afford time exclusive. They're just not that.
You're not wrong there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I really got to talk about and wide things of Nintendo. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add.
I was gonna go back to like the employee payment. Do you think because Nintendo's doing this, you think it'll set trends for other companies to start pay raising?
Yeah, I mean, of course I would. I hope so. Will it happen? No. I mean, not across the board, but I hope it does follow suit with other companies. 100%.
Yeah, like this shows like what do you call it, dividends, profits, whatever, that because it took a pay cut and the employees took a pay raise, products have gotten better than because leading by example, other companies will follow suit to lead by the ethical standpoint. So it'd be
Yeah,
interesting. Hopefully, it turns out to be in a positive overall for the industry. That's what I'm
yeah,
hoping for. That
I hope so.
it trickles down.
Yeah, for sure.
But I know we don't have this as a topic,
Hmm.
but for some reason, I'm in the BS mood.
Okay.
So
Do we want to do it for the podcast or after the podcast?
we could do it here as like just a little thing. I mean, if we
I
could,
only asked that for one particular reason. I think you know why.
it's related to the WWE thing, so I don't know if that's what you're relating to.
No, no, I was really into it because I gotta go pee.
Oh, if I mean, we could cut it here, and then we can make this like a little like exclusive for people that watch the live stream only. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So,
Sounds
do
real
you want to
good.
wrap us up? And then for those listening, if you're
I'll
watching the
wrap us
recorded
up.
version, make sure you check the live for this added BS moment.
Yeah, so actually, for those that don't know, if you're not watching us live, we always, not I shouldn't say always, but I would say about 8 times out of 10, we always BS after the live recorded podcast. So feel free to join in and join in on that for future podcasts. But with that said, with our Nintendo topic here, if you have any comments based on anything that we talked about, how'd you like the direct? And what do you think is in the future for Nintendo as well?
Also, what
And
game
did
were
you?
you looking forward to? Because I'm still on Samba de
Oh, it's
Migo.
it's definitely it's Zelda. It's a slam dunk.
I feel like that's too a populist idea right now, populist opinion. I
Oh,
want to
then
go
this
something
number
that's...
two is obviously Octopath. I mean,
Going
it's
from first popular to second popular.
two easy slam dunks.
Climbing the ladder slowly.
I know, slowly. But anyways, yes, please leave your comments wherever you can. Don't leave them on one platform. All the platforms. We want to hear and we want to see it all. So on that note, that will conclude our episode 24 of the Atlanta podcast. I am the real Shiesty, and on behalf of Joshua Cass, we thank you very much for joining.
Yes.
And as always,
We'll see you on the next one.
peace.
Peace.